The PodAskew Podcast is a proud member of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Support for PodAskew Podcast comes from Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels.
Yo, 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 jingle balls to the walls, fellas. Listen up.
Yo, 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 what are you, Paulie from Rocky 5?
No, I'm Rocky, untrimmed pubes, are a thing of the past.
It's time to gear up and get yourself the gift of shaving this holiday season. I'm talking about the Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0. Dude, I am always afraid of hurting myself when I'm cleaning down there, man. I almost nicked once, man. That shit hurt. Oh, damn, that's just scary.
It always stings afterwards, too.
Yeah.
That's what always... Well, that's why this revolutionary company, Manscaped, has redesigned the electric trimmer. Their Lawnmower 2.0, I know it's scary to call it a lawnmower, especially to shave it down, but it's got advanced skin-safe technology, so this trimmer won't nick or snag your nuts. It's also waterproof, so you can use it in the shower, which is fucking great for me, dude, because I hate trimming it and jumping back in the shower. I just want it done, especially if I'm in a rush. So the Lawnmower 2.0 comes inside their Perfect Package 2.0, which means if you don't think of yourself as having a perfect package, you get an actual Perfect Package 2.0, which makes for the perfect gift this holiday season. It's literally everything you need to keep trimmed, cut-free, and smelling nice down there.
You don't want to use the same trimmer on your face that you're using on your balls. That's just nasty. The Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0 also includes the Crop Preserver and an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer.
You already put deodorant on your armpits. Why are you not putting deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? And yes, your balls stink.
No, they don't.
Speaking of sweaty and stinky balls, I am thankful for the Crop Reviver. This product, along with the Crop Preserver, keeps your balls from sweating, smelling, and sticking.
And these products smell good. Their manly scent is attractive and will help you set the mood, if you know what I mean. The Perfect Package also comes with a pair of Manscaped boxer briefs that'll keep your junk feeling fresh all day. It's time to upgrade those overused pair of boxers to Manscaped's high-performance anti-shaving boxer briefs.
You mean anti-chafing, not anti-shaving. The whole point of this is shaving.
I didn't say shaving. I was doing the British thing for Henry.
The British thing. Okay. Well, 'tis the season of Manscaped, so get yourself, your dad, your brother, and your friends the best gift of all, the Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0.
I can't imagine if you gave this thing to your dad.
Hey, Dad, I got you a gift for Christmas. Christmas? The fuck is Christmas? Well, here, it's a gift for you. Oh, what is this? It's a ball trimmer. It helps, keep everything. I'm an idiot. What the fuck do I care? Anyways, you get 20% off plus free shipping with the code BIGHEADS at manscaped.com. By the way, that is one word.
Your balls will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BIGHEADS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code BIGHEADS. Clean up your nuts and make Santa proud this year. Welcome everybody to the PodAskew Podcast. I am CJ, and with me as always is my hetero life mate Rico. What's up, man?
What's up, dude?
Oh, dude, this is what's up. That's what's up.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have that. I have a... Let's see if I can get some... There it is.
The ice and snow is falling in New Jersey, so...
And you're wearing a tank top.
Well, because I'm indoors, and it's 75 degrees in my apartment, so...
75 degrees, usually, just out here in California.
Yeah. For real.
The weather in the apartment.
So what's going on, buddy?
Let's see. What's going on? It's close to the holidays, so...
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, buddy.
No, nothing. Just Steph and I have been doing a ton of watching movies and shit. We did a whole Star Wars marathon in preps for episode 9, including Solo and Rogue One.
Did you see?
We didn't do the fucking Ewok movies or the holiday special, but we did that.
Did you see? There's someone put up a I want to call it but it's like got the titles, like it's timeline by title. Yeah.
I've seen them update that from time to time because originally, like, obviously they've added the Mandalorian.
Sure. Yeah, they added the Mandalorian, and they added this thing, or at least it's the first time I saw it, this animated show called Star Wars Resistance. Yeah,
that's I've tried watching some of it. It's set, like, right before The Force Awakens, I think.
Yes, I think you're right. I don't have it up in front of me.
It's around that time, and I don't really give a shit, personally. Rebels is a good show, though.
I've heard that. I think you told me that, and then I've had other people confirm that, but I think you told me that first. The thing that I feel like was missing for me is, missing, conspicuous by its absence for me was The Last Jedi, which was interesting, which is a whole nother thing, because the one I saw has it completely removed from the timeline. But...
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. But the other one that I found interesting was that they did not put in this game, The Jedi The Last Order, and it really does, or Fallen Order, excuse me, does really fit into the timeline. Like, it is definitely a part of the timeline, or like, as much as The Mandalorian is, and we're going to get into that a little bit later, but as much as The Mandalorian isn't a direct part of the Skywalker saga, if you will, because that seems to be what they're calling this now, it's still part of that era, and
it's true. Mandalorian has nothing to do with the bigger picture. It's about one dude.
Up to this point, it doesn't. Now, and we'll get into the details later, but as of right now, I agree, but we don't know what's going to happen down the line. It could tie in. But before we get to all of that, we have a couple other things we want to get into. First off, we also have gotten a really polarizing reaction to our Christmas episode already. The Christmas debate, the non-Christmas Christmas debate episode.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call anybody out by name, but we certainly have gotten some polarizing different opinions on our conclusion, if you will.
our final decision.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of it was like, how the fuck did blah, 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 not win, and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, totally.
And then we got, all I could say is, fuck you guys. Make your own fucking,
I'm not going to go as far as fuck you guys. I just feel like it was interesting to hear different people's perspectives. The other thing that came from it, honestly, the one piece of feedback you might find interesting is we actually were given a suggestion. And not that we did something wrong or that we missed something, but what we should do for next time. And that is, and this is right in your fucking wheelhouse, bud. It's the best Christmas horror movie.
Yeah, I can... because they go hand in hand.
And apparently there's enough of them. Like, this person rattled off 6 choices. I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Black Christmas. I mean,
he didn't even mention that, but he talked about Krampus, Gremlins to a lesser degree, and then there was another one he mentioned,
Well, I mean, and then I would, to an even lesser degree, I would throw in Nightmare Before Christmas. Because for a very small child, that could be a horror film.
Sure. I don't view it that way, but I get the point you're making. Yeah. So
you're fucking 40. And
well, I mean, by that,
when that movie came out, you're graduating college or some shit.
By that standard, though, I think you could say how the Grinch Stole Christmas could be out. Depending on which version you're talking about.
Well, I just rewatched the Jim Carrey one. That is an underrated classic as far as I'm concerned, because it's more entertaining than a 30-minute special.
I've never actually seen that one.
You've got to fucking check it out, because it is Jim Carrey at his most
Jim Carrey.
Carrey-ish.
Yeah, but there's, Jim Carrey too much into Jim Carrey is not something I generally enjoy.
I understand that, but if it's a first viewing, like my thing with Jim Carrey movies is that if I've already seen it, now he comes off annoying. Like if I tried rewatching Ace Ventura, I'm like, oh my god, when the fuck?
Yeah, the only
Cable Guy.
That one's okay. That one I can watch multiple times. The other two of his that I can watch multiple times is Liar Liar and The Mask. But I think because it's so much like a comic book character, that's why I like it so much.
Yeah. Well, it is a comic book character.
Or a cartoon character even. Yes, I know, but I'm saying, it's So I think...
Have you ever read a Mask comic book? Have you ever seen any of them?
No.
Because it's really dark.
Is
like
it?
He just straight up Dude, he straight up murders people in The Mask.
And not to get off on a whole tangent, but the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic books are really fucking dark.
And the movie. I mean, honestly, the movie
first,
that the Jim Henson...
Yes, that first movie is dark. I agree with you, but the comic books are, like, really dark. Like, they kill Shredder in the first episode by, like, impaling him on some shit.
Yeah, I do actually remember that. I had, like, a compilation of, like, the first, 12 issues or something in a booklet.
Oh, it's probably... Yeah, they call those, trade paperbacks. Yeah.
So I had one of those, like, when I was a kid. So I had, like, the first series run of TMNT. And I remember, like, this is like the movie, but not like the movie.
Yeah.
There were parts that were, like, lifted directly for the movie that I was really impressed by.
Well,
anyways, we're fucking all...
I know. We're going to get back on track in a minute, but real quick, that first book, like, if you have the first run, first issue, it's not as valuable as, say, the first Spider-Man, which I think is still the most valuable comic book out there, but it's up there. Like, it
can go up to, I think Comic Book Men did a whole issue, or a whole episode about it, and, like, if you had a, like, mint condition first issue, it went up to at least 10, maybe a little less, but about 8 to 10 grand is what I remember them saying.
Yeah, and basically. Last time I checked, Spider-Man's like 15 to 20. So, like, it's close, like I said. But getting us back on track a little bit, because we never go off topic. We do have some stuff we're going to talk about, but the first thing we want to talk about is we have a report from Down Under. Our wonderful writer Jay, who has now started organizing, like, I guess you could call them monthly or at least quarterly, what she calls PodAskew piss-up parties. Where her and her friends get together and listen to PodAskew all weekend and drink. And we've asked her to keep us apprised of the goings on, and as only Jay can, she has. So I believe you have the first half of this thing.
I have a half. I don't have no idea, but I will start reading this, and then I'll tell you when I'm done.
Well, just in case, before you get started, if it does sound disjointed, then we read them out of order.
I mean, if it sounds disjointed, it's because I'm reading this verbatim. Let's put it that way.
Don't be mean to Jay. That's wrong.
No. All right. G'day, Rico. I hope you don't mind this too much, but CJ asked me if I could write a little something for my PA fam about last week's PodAskew piss-up party. Unfortunately, that's apparently not possible for yours truly. What's happened is my long-winded ass has compiled what my BBFF described as the Magna fucking Carta of love letters. Because of that, I've decided to send half to you and the rest to your other half, CJ. Please feel free to share or not share any or all of it if it's too shit. I'll completely understand. Okay, here it goes. G'day, CJ and Rico, and greetings from your friend fan from Oz, Jay. As I sit here beneath my rainbow Chrissy tree and listening to Aussie jingle bells, fuck.
It's actually, interrupting, because she sent me a separate message. That's apparently a real song.
Oh my, I'm sure. It's just
Stop it! We have a fan. Let's not lose that fan, please.
They have a sense of humor. Are you shitting me? All right. I thought I would take this opportunity to reach out to my PA fam and wish everyone a happy, safe, and magical Xmas. May Santa stuff your stockings well and your tummies be full, but never ever swell. I was sorry to hear you weren't well of late, Rika. Hopefully those magical heavenly vocals of yours have returned for us all to enjoy this festive season. I feel like at the end of this episode I should fucking do a little crooning for Jay at the end. I was a little concerned that both my pod parents were breaking up and cheating on one another of late, but it turned out to be just a hot, horny weekend away with OC. I also thought I would share my past weekend of festivities, which we dubbed PodAskew and Pornhub Piss Up Party, the Chrissy edition. Fuck, I want to go to one of these parties. That's what I want to do.
You're going to fly 16 hours just to go to one of these parties?
I've said it before. If I'm ever flying to Australia, it's only to fucking hang out with Jay.
Oh, for sure. Or to perform at the Grand Ole Opry House or whatever that thing's called.
Yes, because we are as classy to be on that fucking stage.
Hey, they had Jay and Kev on that stage. We can do it.
Oh, touche. All right. Unfortunately, there were only 4 of us this time. There's a little crying emoji. Oh, only 4 people.
Well, if you know the reason why, it is kind of sad. So,
I actually don't.
Okay, so
that's okay.
No, very briefly because it's kind of important, and I actually wanted to bring this up anyway. You know the fires you're dealing with out there, or were dealing with? I don't think they're there anymore. They've been kind of dealt with, right?
Yeah.
Well, Southern Australia is going through the same kind of thing, and a couple of her friends are, and a couple of her friends are down there like fighting these fires. So,
I actually no, she did mention this in the next paragraph.
Oh, my bad.
Forgot about it. The other 3 are down the coast protecting their farmland from the horrendous bushfires that are terrorizing the entire eastern seaboard of late. Sorry, Jay, I completely just fucking blanked on the message. And I apologize for teasing you. I decided we would go with 3 recent eps and the one everyone was most excited for, PodAskew Cruise mascot hero Stephaskew. And boy, was I right. Just as I thought, they loved it. They were also in hysterics hearing your fear of our critters, Rico. That image the world has about us being surrounded by deadly, quote, devil triangle tarantulas is by no means accurate. But we do need to check our shoes each morning for roaming redbacks, looking for a warm little hidey hole through the summer months, though. And sure, we do have crocs, sharks, snakes, spiders, deadly jelly blubbers, etc. So I'm fucking right, is what you're fucking saying. Yeah, okay, I'm not wrong, but you guys are just used to it. That's the fucking difference. You are terrorized with these fucking wildlife, but you are just so fucking tough as shit out there. You're just like, oh yeah, you know, fucking kangaroo punched me in the face, and I have to go to work anyway, so it's okay. If a kangaroo punched me in the face, that's just an end of my day. That will fuck up my day. I'm sorry. But then she says, but it's not really that scary until you venture out into the bush, or the outback, or the ocean. Here in the burbs of Sydney, there's not a whole lot of critters to be concerned about. Worry more about the flies and mozzies. I'm assuming mozzies is mosquitoes.
Probably.
Those will surely drive you round the bend. So if you ever do wish to conquer your fears and come visit us down here, just remember the 3 cardinal rules. 1, always look under the dunny toilet for redbacks and funnel web spiders. You just never know. She made this really ominous. 2, never leave the house without the arrow guard. Well, I don't know what the fucking arrow guard is, so I'm already gonna die, is what you're saying. 3, never ever forget to look up those pesky bloody drop bears. They're killers. Koalas, is that what those are?
They don't exist, but it is a term to fuck with tourists about koalas, yeah.
Stop fucking with me, Jay. I'm already terrified, and I live across the fucking country.
Well, you live across the ocean, actually, but yeah.
All right, yeah, you and I live across... You know what? Fuck off. It would be my absolute honor to take you to the secret nooks and crannies only locals know about. That's where you go to die. And I promise to keep you safe from the potential harm our native flora and fauna can inflict whilst you're here. But the biggest LOL moment for us all was when Steph told Rika to calm the fuck down, motherfucker.
Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty funny, actually.
If only you guys knew how often she says that to me.
Oh, I can vouch for that.
We applauded Steph's stance on being, quote, done with the oversaturation of Marvel on us all, and her critique of The Lion King being beautifully made, but just not necessary, was spot on and exactly what we all said after we saw it. But what I've really come to enjoy the most about our PA Piss-Up parties is the combos, debates, and discussions that stem from the show. After agreeing wholeheartedly with Stephanie about the role of women in cinema, we began our own, quote, female lead actors list. Our picks were Allison Janney, the Mum in Juno. Whoopi Goldberg, her early work in The Color Purple and Clara's Heart was exceptional and stars a pre-Doogie Howser, NPH. Sally Field and the two Dianes, Keaton and Weiss. She was hilarious in The Birdcage.
Didn't we?
It was unanimous.
Didn't we bring up Diane Keaton while we were kicking around names? I thought we did.
If we did, it wasn't on the air.
No, it was on air. We just didn't follow up, I think. But yeah.
I don't remember. We love Stephanie and would like for her to move to Oz and become our new prime minister.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess you're moving to Oz there, bud.
The fuck I am. She'd certainly have our vote. Next up was the Batman Halloween special. What you all created was a really beautifully woven tapestry of art. Oh, she put a little Mona Lisa emoji next to it.
She's really good with those emojis. You really got to give her that.
It's hieroglyphics every time. Every single one of us riveted. CJ, you narrated Henry's brilliantly written words onto the theater stage of our minds, and everyone did such an incredible job. Rico, you, sir, are the Walter Flanagan and Lon Chaney of podcasting.
Oh, that's funny.
You managed to give each character their own individualized inflections and indentations. It was truly spectacular. So relatable, even for my friends that are not heavily invested in the modern incarnations of the Bat. That, for me, is the sign of a great storyteller. And hearing my Twitter buddy smoke was an added treat. Afterwards, we laughed ourselves stupid at the blooper episode Mastering Dick that followed.
Can I just say that I can't tell how many times at this point how many times I've listened to that episode and I laugh out loud every fucking time.
Mastering Dick?
Yeah.
It's a good one. For those of our listeners, if you really just want 20 minutes of laughter, it is great.
Or wait till New Year's.
So far, 3 episodes down, I was a little worried they may wish to move on to other things, but when everyone began asking, what's next? I knew the magical web of PodAskew had ensnared them, and I decided to whip a bit of ADD with OC at them. Again, the crowd was thrilled. Loads of laughter as you both spoke on such heavy topics, yet filled with your usual humor and heart that we've come to love. But you both and the show so much. 4 episodes in, was this the end of our PodAskew deep dive? Well, I guess you'll have to tune in tomorrow to find out. That or ask CJ to continue with part 2 once he receives it tomorrow. Same pod time, same pod channel, LOL. It's time for this long-winded bitch to shut up and go the fuck to sleep. Big hugs and much love to you and Stephanie. Rico, good night. All right. There's part 1, or at least half of 1.
Yeah, so, all right. So, it's not a smooth transition from what I can tell, but it's still a good rest of the story. So, we'll pick it up here. But it says, hasn't it been so awesome to be a Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes fan, but even more so of late? Not only do they inspire us all to chase our own whimsies daily, but lately it's been an avalanche of Askewniverse, and I've loved every single minute of it. Reboot is such a wonderful gift he's blessed us with. A chance to step into a Wayback Machine and recapture not only our memories, but our love for 2 characters whose personas were far more inspiring and lovable in real life than they ever were on the big screen. And seeing Kevin J getting permanently stoned outside the Chinese theater recently was a beautiful yet long overdue acknowledgement of a lifetime's dedication to their fans, the industry, their art, and most importantly, their huge hearts. I will also add, honestly, this is not in the letter, but the fact that Clerks has now been put into the National Library is a huge thing for them, too. But getting back to the letter. It feels so right that they are now permanently immortalized amongst the stars right where they belong. That's one of my favorite things about PodAskew. It's a place where we can all come together and celebrate not just our Smiths fandom, but fandom as a whole. A family that inspires, supports, and encourages one another to pursue their own why not. And PodAskew showcases those talents and aspirations beautifully. Not unlike Rico, it was writer Kevin Smith that I was first drawn to over 20 years ago now. His turn of phrase peppered with delicious innuendos and insider jokes has, over the years, inspired my only inner writer to break free. For that alone, I will forever be thankful to him. So that's why we get these long letters from her.
Everything is Kevin Smith's fault.
Exactly. So even though it had been over 6 hours of PodAskew we'd all listened to, the girls were demanding more. So I decided to whip at them my two favorite episodes right now, Crash and Burn and BTECJTW. I started with a riddle. What?
Crash and Burn. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why she loves that episode, but I started with a riddle. Triple shot to whomever can solve the cryptic crossword. Much to my relief, none of them could figure out your episode title's riddle either. Whilst listening to you both discussing Smod fandom with Henry and Stevie, something completely unexpected occurred. What did you say, buddy?
I said I still can't decipher it. I still don't know where the fuck you came up with that title.
I told you what it is.
I still can't figure it out. You told it to me, and I'm just like, it's just a mesh of letters.
Do you want me to tell you again? Because I did tell her.
No, just first
okay.
letter. Then...
In the past, my friends have picked on me at times for my own fandom. Completely harmless ribbing, but I have been accused of joining a cult many times. So hearing you all discuss your fandom and the amazing people who we've all gotten to know thanks to our shared love of Kevin and the Askewniverse seemed to finally give them an understanding of my own fandom also. I never would have had the privilege of getting to know so many extraordinarily, incredibly talented souls that just seem to gravitate around in and around the View Askewniverse orbit. Sorry, it's there. Stevie is generally one of the kindest, funniest, yet thoughtful friends I've ever had the fortune of knowing. I have to agree. Smoke's a great dude.
Agreed.
Not to mention the incredibly talented Henry, Smod Buddy Christ, Mike Driscoll, Jimmy V, Jamie with those amazingly cool cat ears of hers. Her smile and kindness to everyone always lights up my mornings. Stephen Griss and his genius Smodcast-inspired song, Shecky Don't Like It. Jordan, Jen, Dr. Josh, and Will Wilkins, and all they do to keep the Askewniverse spinning on its correct axis. So many amazingly talented people that I feel so blessed that I've gotten to know and call friends. I can't thank you and Rico enough, Rico and PodAskew, for finally making my passions relatable to my friends. It was really a huge unexpected bucket of wind. I have to, before we move on, I want to actually give Jay a little bit of a present here and tease the fact that we are actually going to have Cat Ears on the show coming up very soon to discuss Reboot and the Roadshow. So that will be coming soon for all of you fans that are interested in hearing it.
And it'll be the first time that I'll actually be talking to her.
That's true. Yeah, because I've hung out with her that one night and we did the thing for your birthday, but you haven't actually spoken to her. Well, that's kind of like when we had April on that one time too. Anyway, so we were now into hour 8. It was 1 a.m. and everyone but me was sozzled and having an absolute blast, but no nudie runs just yet. That came later. When I just gotta
say, 8 hours of listening to us talk,
right?
That is excessive.
I don't even think I could listen to us talk for 8 hours.
I have listened to us talk for 8 hours because I've traveled and shit.
Right.
And listened to us, but we are fucking annoying after the second hour, I gotta say.
Fuck you, dude.
Although if you really just want to do 8 hours of us talking, just listen to the fucking what was it, the Oscars episode, or no, this the first year celebration plus one additional episode. There's your fucking 8 hours.
Basically, yeah, because it's 4 hours and 40 some odd minutes on the yeah.
You're supposed to get 8 hours of sleep, not 8 hours of PodAskew.
For real. All right. When I moved on to our next episode, I explained that it was the PodAskew Genesis episode titled Crash and Burn. It was only a few minutes in when my BBFF shouted drunkenly at the top of her lungs, "Hey, isn't this the one we listened to whilst watching Pornhub?" The room went silent. You all right there, bud?
I would love to know the answer in this one.
Oh, no, it comes. We get the answer. The room went silent. Okay. The room went silent momentarily before an almighty burst of laughter. "Hey, yeah, I was promised some porn tonight," at which point a unified drunken chant began, we want porn, over and over again. You see, recently Kevin utilized many avenues to publicize Reboot, including the hilarious Jay and Silent Bob Pornhub parody. I usually avoid clicking on anything, especially any porn site links, for fear of contracting any viruses, virtual or otherwise. But being a link to... You like that one?
That's pretty fucking funny.
It's good.
You just need to wear a condom and also make sure you have a good virus protector.
How is she supposed to wear a condom? She doesn't have a penis, to our knowledge.
No, she puts them on her fingers, so when she types, they're protected.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
There you go.
But being a link to Kev, I didn't hesitate. The lady I was sitting next to on the train at the time was not very thrilled. So being that it was so late, I decided not to play it with the sound on. After all, I didn't want the neighbors thinking it was some sort of orgy going on, but the chanting "we want porn" just kept getting louder, and as they were getting more loaded. So we decided to combine the visuals of Pornhub and the audio of you two. You and Rico shooting the shit became the soundtrack for the remainder of the evening's festivities all the way to sunrise. A truly interesting combination, yet deliciously delightful. What a bloody eye-opener that Pornhub is. A buffet of fetishes and kinks of various kinds and offer. A sea of dick and an ocean of tits and ass. Highly... you need a second there, bud?
Dude, this is like... That would be the best commentary that we will never do.
Right?
Imagine if you and I just watched porn and just commented.
Commented on it? Oh my God.
And then we... sent that to them and said, "All right, you want to hear our next commentary? You have to go to Pornhub and put this link, and we're gonna." Oh God! Can you imagine if we actually found one called Star Wars?
Right?
Like we found, if we did like a Star Wars porn spoof. I mean, there are Star Wars porn spoofs.
Yeah, I know what she's talking about with this thing that Kev did for Reboot, but there is a Clerks porn. Dante and Randall are women. I forget what they're called. It's like Dawn and Randy or something like that. I forget, but yeah.
All right. I also just love the fact that it's called Shooting the Shit, because there's plenty of shit shooting in porn.
Yeah. All right.
I wouldn't know what kind of porn they're watching. I just know it's...
Yeah, she didn't get into details.
So. Okay, keep going.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Highly educational, yet thoroughly entertaining to a bunch of horny and drunk girls completely off their faces. It's a night I will never soon forget, although I'm fairly certain that most of them won't recall all that much of it. And sorry to disappoint those of you picturing nude pillow fights or some girl-on-girl action. No kinkiness transpired during the deep dive into Pornhub, just a lot of gaping jaws at some of the horrors humans can inflict on one another, all in the name of orgasms. I can't wait to do it all again.
Yeah, like PodAskew.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. That's the worst way to get an orgasm is
right.
PodAskew.
Right?
Oh shit, this is funny. Okay, go ahead.
This is hysterical. By dawn, the crowd had either passed out or puked, and the evening wound up. A few hours sleep followed by a barbecue brunch, and the weekend came to a close. Whilst I couldn't convince the girls to go for the Fifth Element episode the previous evening, they did all enjoy listening to it while stuffing their faces with snags, which after the previous evening's viewings became a humorous phallic filled giggle fest in and of itself. It was unanimous. Everyone had such an amazing weekend, and I can't thank you all enough for the memories that we all now share. All thanks to your extremely hard work, guys. Thank you to the incredible Stephanie and Debbie for sharing you both with us. If it's okay, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our newest PodAskew family member, Rebecca. Welcome to the party, hon. So, from my PodAskew crew, my fam and friends, we wish the entire PodAskew family and the merriest of Christmases from all of us to you all. We can't wait to see what fun and adventures Rico, and this amazing show will take us on in 2020. With the biggest of koala bear cuddles and much love, your friend and fan from Oz, Jay.
We want board.
Yeah,
that's what we want. We want board. That was, first off, Jay, thank you. All of your friends, like, I want to thank you.
We need names. I want names for these people.
They're not going to give us fucking names after they just admitted that they're watching porn and listening to us.
I don't need.
No wonder.
Well, look.
No wonder they want the neighbors to think that they're having an orgy. Why the fuck would they put their names out?
Well, we only know Jay's first name, and Jay could be a fucking pseudonym for all we know. I mean, I love her to death, and if that's what her name is, rock on. But even if it's not, then shit, you know.
Oh, okay, all right, that's even better. Jay, all of your friends have to come up with nicknames to call themselves to tell us who the fuck they are.
Yeah, we want to know who we're talking to or about. Yeah.
And I'm just saying, there may not be fucking orgies, but there is definitely someone sneaking off to the bathroom. I promise you.
Probably.
There is no fucking way that the tantalizing voices of us and the giant penises and asses and vaginas and titties is not making you guys want to go. I can't even finish the sentence. I feel dirty.
I feel dirty hearing you say it. So,
just be thankful I'm yelling at you. I'm not going and all of you listen to me are always you like. I'm so glad my mother doesn't listen to this shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, fuck, Jay, you guys, you made me break. Like, usually I'm always I'm fucking up CJ, but that was so needed. This has been like a rough year. Not gonna lie.
No, it has. Absolutely.
Steph phrased it for her own self. I'm not going to go into details for her bullshit, but she phrased this. She said it was this is the best and worst year of her life because it's been an emotional fucking roller coaster in many ways. This has been, I can agree. It's been the best and one of the hardest years of my life.
Yeah.
And Jay and you guys listening and I promise you doing more than just listening. You guys help. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
CJ and I
agree.
I'll be doing this, but we have upped our game to try and be even funnier and more entertaining but at least I have. CJ, you know.
Yeah, fuck you. I have. The other thing I would chime in on if you think it's worth it is that, last year we did the blooper reel for New Year's, and I've been trying to compile it again for this year, and it has become infinitely harder to compile because I think we've just gotten better at this, so there's still content. We have some stuff we can listen to and have fun with and have a good time, but it's been, we'll put it this way, last year's thing was about 12 to 15 minutes long that we listened to, and that was only compiled starting in I think it was August or something. I didn't do the whole calendar year, and this year I started in January, and I am struggling to make it as long. I thought it would be twice as long, and it's not. So.
But especially since we did kind of put out because I think a lot of the material would be from the Batman Alone stuff, but like we kind of pushed that out and made a bloopers reel. So I see what you're saying. And I do agree. I think it's not just that we've gotten better. We've learned how to work with each other. It's also, we've gotten better mechanical stuff. We've gotten better fucking speakers and mics. And, we don't fucking record unless the connection's good. And if we both sound good, like we switched different, ways of calling each other because there was a clicking thing in the last one that we used. And now this show is a constant fluctuation.
Sure.
Fluctuation.
As it needs to be.
Right.
So, no, you're right though, buddy. We definitely have improved multiple things and we're still looking for ways to improve and we have ideas for the future. I have some ideas. Plus we've made a lot of connections over the last year. Do you know what I mean? That have allowed us to become much more professional, if you will.
Right. And again, that idea that one of the ideas we're doing is commentating on porn. We are going to find...
Did you wait till I took a drink to say that, like, on purpose?
I was saying it and I started chuckling because I saw you taking a drink, but I was already halfway through the word porn, which is why I stretched out to But no, I mean, I would make reference to, like, whenever we're like, oh, what's that awesome movie? Oh, you mean Ask Gobblers 37? Like, we're going to find that.
We need to find that movie and send a link to Jay for them to watch. Like, needs to be a thing now.
And they're going to be like, we have some dangerous shit in fucking Australia. This is even more dangerous shit.
But
this is one of those tree droppers.
Oh, shit. Jay, thank you. For real. I don't think either of us have laughed this hard together in a while. So I think
last time we laughed this hard was Mastering Dick, honestly.
Yeah. Which, well, it was Batman Alone. Mastering Dick just happened to be a part of it.
You just love to say Mastering Dick.
You've said it like 4 times. Shut up.
At least I could say manner.
You know what? I hate you so much. We had some other stuff we wanted to talk about tonight, though. So, do you want to jump into that, or do you have anything else you want to say to Jay?
No, if I say anything else more to Jay, I think I might lose her as a fan.
No, stop it. I don't think that's possible at this point.
I didn't think it was possible. I mean, on one hand, I take it as an amazing compliment that they can watch porn and listen to us at the same time. Mm-hmm. But that's also kind of an own, like, roundabout, backwards kind of, like, insult, like, that we are not as good as the porn that they're watching. Like, they have to fucking watch porn to listen to us?
No, I didn't take it that way, but okay.
I don't know how to take it because I would never watch porn and listen to. I don't even want to listen to me talk to the porn. Like, I don't even want to talk about loud, like talk dirty to the fucking porn stars. Be like, oh yeah, it's just sound. Look, no,
stop. No, don't. Anyway, I have one more. I have one more thing to say to Jay, and this is, being all serious for a minute. Like, Jay, you're a writer. Like, you may not give yourself enough credit, but you are a writer. Like, she really does know how to paint a picture for real. Like, all,
100% agree. I'm just saying this, Jay, we're not commissioning you. We're not demanding it much. But if you ever want to, like, write us a little fucking, like, play or something, doesn't have to be a fucking, like,
Batman Alone level. Thing. Yeah.
No, nothing to that extreme. But if you ever want to hear us say, like, dialogue that you wrote, send us some pages. We're fucking on. Do a little fucking skit. Yeah. Well, she didn't even update Who's On First. I've been trying to get CJ to fucking do Who's On First with me, and we never really took it, like, past, like, oh yeah, we'll do that.
I honestly just forgot about it. I'm not against doing it. I just forgot about it. I will.
It's gonna happen.
I will say that, and I've had this conversation with Jay, like, that letter we just read, I've told her from now on, like, I want updates when they have these parties. Like, I don't need, when she has these events, I want to hear about them, and we're going to share them because she writes them so well. You know what I mean? Like, and she paints such an awesome picture that I don't want to speak for you, buddy, but I actually feel like I'm there. Like, you know what I mean? I really do. When we read these, I feel like we're there.
I feel like I'm there too. I got a fucking mild erection just from, the whole thing.
Of course you did.
Which is another reason why that you and I and Stephanie go to this party and that we're having like a piss up party. There can be no porn.
Yeah, no porn.
I will just be that. I'll be that creepy, chubby, bearded asshole with a fucking boner listening to the sound of my own voice. No, that sounds awful.
That does sound awful. I agree. I guess
Steph will like it. Steph will be to it.
Yeah, I'm sure she would. I have one quick question. If we were ever to go down there for that one of those events, because I would totally go, but. Do we do a live PodAskew, or do we just sit back and listen?
Depends on how long we're there. I think the first day I wouldn't want to fucking work. I'd like to get...
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I ain't going in the water. I don't care what the fuck we do, but I'm not going in the goddamn
I'm
water.
with you there. I'm just talking about for the party itself.
I want to try these infamous fucking drinks that Jay keeps making.
Right? For real.
From the fucking Barbie. Like, that's what I want.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So American when I didn't accent Barbie at all.
Nope.
I was like,
nope.
It made me sound like I was like cooking eggs on a fucking Barbie doll.
Yes, it did.
Ugh. So
all right.
white.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm also Chris.
And together we do a comedy podcast called Cooking with Grief.
Each week we dive into 4 surprising facts about anything from science to history to the weird world we live in, making jokes about all of it as we go along.
You can find us on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
And you can also find us on Twitter at Cooking with Grief. No G on cooking.
Glitter, apparently, is so unique that it can be effectively used as forensic evidence.
The Bank of England's chief economist has urged to start using people's Spotify playlist as a way of measuring the economy.
In China, Avengers has been translated as Fulian, or Women's Federation.
Not only did the Russians capture the Crimean Peninsula, they also captured some Ukrainian military dolphins.
In Pinocchio, in the film Becomes a Real Boy, in the original it ends with a cat and a fox hanging him from a tree.
Scientists have wiped a snail's memory.
And Slytherin's going, can we have an extensive series of tunnels sort of wide enough to fit a giant people-killing snake?
Where do you fall on the scone debate?
Scone, obviously.
Oh, I go with scone.
So, what have you got to lose? Give us a try.
Nothing to lose but your sweet, precious time.
Yeah, that's true.
Moving forward, we are going to...
wholesome and now talk about fucking Disney.
Well, no, we're not going to Disney yet. We're not going there yet. Because there's a couple trailers I want to talk about. There's a movie I saw that's been out for a while, but I finally saw it. So, do you want to talk about trailers first or the movie?
Curious what movie you saw. What'd you see?
I saw Bumblebee.
Oh, okay. I still haven't. So how was it?
I thought you did. I thought you saw it.
Oh, I told you that Steph and I want to see it. We're like, if we are ever going to see a Transformers movies, we will see Bumblebee. But we never saw Bumblebee.
Okay. Well, I don't want to spoil it for you, but
just tell me if it was good or not.
No, it was good. It was really good, actually.
I missed most of the other Transformers. I only saw the first 2. Like, everything else just became fucking, destruction in the background. I
right,
can't. I have no fucking clue.
And that's a typical Michael Bay movie. I would say Bumblebee is the best Transformers movie that's been made, but I would put the first of those Michael Bay ones right behind it. The first one.
Okay.
Because it is a prequel to that movie. That's what this is meant to be.
I thought it was... Oh.
It is a prequel
Okay.
to that series of Michael Bay movies. Now, they just go off the fucking deep end. And honestly, if they did a full fucking reboot at this point, picking up where Bumblebee ends, because they could, it would be okay with me. Because if they keep doing it the way they're doing these movies, or they did that movie, it would be good.
Okay. Well, I'll give Bumblebee a shot.
Yeah, it's worth it. You have Hulu. I will tell you it's on there, so you can watch it there.
Sure.
Because that's where we watched it.
I also work at a video store as well.
True, but I'm just saying, if you don't feel like going out to the store.
If I don't feel like going to work. Yeah. I will say that because even though I haven't seen the more recent Transformers movies, my favorite thing is the fact that fucking Maki Mock can't drop his Boston accent for any role that he's doing. So when I saw the trailer where he's supposed to be in Texas, he said, "We found a Transformer."
Yeah, but the character's from New England. I've seen that one. He's from
Texas.
No, the character's from New England, I think.
Okay. Well, because they were just like, "Oh fuck, you can't do a Texas accent."
Haley Steinfeld did a really good job.
I like her, dude.
Yeah, well,
I've been a fan of.
Say it again.
I said I've been a fan of her work. I liked. She made a movie pretty recently called Edge of 17 that I really, really enjoyed.
The only thing that I knew her from prior to this was Into the Spider-Verse, because she's Spider-Gwen.
Mm-hmm. You never saw the remake of True Grit, the Coen brothers version?
No.
She's excellent in that. She's like 12 or something, and she holds her own against Jeff Bridges and Matt Damon and Josh Brolin. She is easily the breakout star of that movie. That's really where she got her start, was True Grit.
Speaking of Matt Damon, there's a movie I have not seen yet, but I plan to watch this week that he's in that I have not seen yet, called Downsizing, that I want to see. I
did see that.
No.
I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm going to tell you that it feels like two separate films.
I've heard that before, actually, and not from you. I've heard that from someone else I know. Yeah.
It goes a weird direction that I was not expecting, and I didn't appreciate. Ultimately, I thought the first half was very funny, very good, and then I was like, all right, they lost me, personally.
Backing up for a second.
In it.
What's that?
He's good in it, but I thought the story itself was weird and not good.
Okay. Backing up for a split second, I also want to thank you for my Christmas present, my little buddy Christ sitting here staring at me.
Speaking of Matt Damon, remind you of Dogma?
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. Merry fucking Christmas.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. And same to you. What?
Do you have the note that I sent you? Do you want to read what I wrote?
I kept it, but I don't know where it is at this exact moment.
That's all right.
Hold on. All right. Well, while we're still broken from the conversation we were having, the other thing, we addressed it a little bit on the episode with Logo Mike, but we haven't talked in quite a bit, dude. How you doing? What did you think of the episode that you weren't there for, with Lilu?
It was great. I was disappointed that I wasn't there, but it was still a very good episode to listen to. Because little background, I was there for the first initial attempt at doing it. Okay. But circumstances happen, schedules, things, and blah 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 blah. But so I kept thinking the same jokes that I kept trying to that I said before, and I wanted them to be there this time, but it didn't. They weren't said. That's okay. No, but I loved. I don't remember what the jokes were, honestly.
Jokes aside, is there anything I should have asked that I didn't ask? Do you think?
Not really. I thought I've always been pretty impressed with your interview skills. You always come up with pretty good questions. I
wasn't looking for that. Thank you, but I wasn't looking for that. I was just asking.
if I were to bring up anything, I would have said, like, you should have asked them about that Mark Hamill story that she did initially tell us before, because that was gold.
I think I forgot about that, honestly, or I probably would have. Yeah. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And to the same effect, dude, the one you did with OC was quite entertaining. It was not one I expected, but it was good.
That was the point. The fact that I had OC do the intro was to really fuck with you. And for our listeners, I didn't have the audio, so I had to have OC send that to our PodAskew email account.
Oh, I know what you're gonna tell him.
He wanted to be as creepy as possible and just write like the subject like "open me" or something akin to that, like it was like a spam virus thing. And no, like, hey, CJ, it's OC. Surprise, Rico and I did this. He just sent it to you with like no explanation. And I saw the email because he and I have the same, we can get the same notifications from the same email account. And I immediately texted him. I said, hey man, we got this weird email. You should take a look at it. And this motherfucker immediately was like, don't open it. I'm going to delete it. And I'm like, no, do not delete this shit. Please don't. And then you're like, why? And I'm like, just trust me and open it. You're like, no. I'm like, I was like, I never asked you just to trust me, bitch. Like, just do it.
And to just give a quick more backstory, like, it came from OC's real name, which I did not know up to that point, and I'm not going to share with the audience for reasons, but there's nothing that indicated that it could have been OC. You know what I mean? Like, even if it had said, like, octopus, I might have figured it out, but it didn't, you know, like.
So there's a period where I don't hear anything from him, and I'm like, oh fuck, I hope he didn't delete it. And then I just got a text message just like, he's like, what the fuck is this? But here's even going further for just one more second.
Sure.
He and I had a phone call where he was lamenting about, hey, we have an open week where we have no content. We're going to have to fucking figure out a subject to talk about.
Oh, you mean you and I? Yes, we did have a phone call. Yeah.
And I am laughing so hard to myself because I knew it was coming. And I said, and I don't know if you remember, but I said, dude, I'm sure something will come up. Like, it's going to be good.
Yeah, well, that's your usual go-to, like, saving statement, though. So it didn't stun me you said that.
No, which is why it worked, because you didn't suspect shit.
No, not at all. No, it was good, though. It was fun. But getting back to what we were talking about, because we do have a bunch of stuff we want to get into. The other thing the trailers that I saw, so the first one I want to talk about is Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Mm.
I liked it a lot.
I agree. It looks like I will not be one to bitch about the 2016, whatever the fuck, 2016, the 2016 one, because I don't have a problem with any of the filmmakers, writers, stars of that movie. It just wasn't that funny. It just wasn't that good.
Here's the other thing about that one, real quick. Like, it didn't feel like a Ghostbusters movie. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that movie, and there's another movie recently we talked about where if it hadn't had the name, it would have fit better. And I'm trying to remember what movie we were talking about, but the same thing applies. Like, if they had called that movie anything else but Ghostbusters, it would have been fine, probably.
Well, what we were talking about was probably the sequel to Independence Day. If they had changed a couple of the...
I'm sure we said that too, but no, this is more recent and a bigger title. I just can't remember what it was. Yeah.
It was Joker.
Yes! That probably is it. Yeah.
So, all things considering, I'm excited to see this one, but I was never a giant Ghostbusters fan because I sort of missed that mark. Like,
you'd be too young. Yeah.
I wasn't alive, so
Right.
But it was like real fans of Ghostbusters saw that shit in the 80s, whereas like the first Ghostbusters thing that the first pop culture thing that I saw was a children's book of it, like one of those fucking thin long books they did for like Sesame Street and shit. They did one for Ghostbusters, and I think it was my brother's. So that's what I'm saying. I got like a hand-me-down Ghostbusters education.
Right, right.
Like I didn't even watch the cartoon.
See, the cartoons, and yeah, you have to be careful because there's two cartoons. There's one with the monkey that's terrible, and then there's one that actually is the 4 Ghostbusters, and that's good.
That's the one that I remember. I remember years later watching. But
okay, no, yeah, that one's good. I'll say this. No, go ahead.
I'll give you one little bit of trivia.
Please.
The guy who plays Bill Murray's role in the cartoon show,
yeah,
is the same guy who voiced Garfield in the Garfield and Friends TV show.
Yes.
So this guy, Lorenzo Music, I want to say his name was. So
I don't know that.
This guy and Bill Murray kept swapping roles essentially.
Well, sure. Oh, yeah. I didn't think about it that way, but you're right. Yeah. Also, if you want to just, throw another piece of, trivia out there, Arsenio Hall played Winston in the cartoon. Yeah. Now, here's the irony, and I read this, and I don't know how true this is, but apparently...
I know what you're going for.
Ernie Hudson applied to be Winston in the cartoon show, and they told him he didn't sound enough like the character. Which... what?
That reminds me of another random bit of trivia.
Sure.
Charlie Chaplin entered a Charlie Chaplin look-alike contest.
And lost.
Third place.
Third place. That's crazy. But here's what I will tell you. It already from the trailer has enough of the feels to make me, as an old school Ghostbusters fan, excited. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'm not even talking about, because I'm not worried about spoiling the trailer, but I'm not even worried about the fact, I'm not even talking about the fact that you see the Ecto in full force. I'm talking about littler things, like, Egon's,
grandson.
Well, I think it's a granddaughter, actually. I think that's a girl.
The kid with glasses?
Yeah.
Or whatever?
Yeah.
Dude.
I'm not so sure about that.
Finn Wolfhard.
Oh, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
That's the kid from Stranger Things, and he's also from the It movies.
Okay. Having never watched any of those things, yeah.
That's a boy.
Okay, well, it's a boy. Good. Anyway, the point being is, I'm talking about stuff like, but to your point about that character, when he's holding the EKG meter, or the PKE meter is what it's called, the thing with the two things that flip up and it's got the LED lights on it. It's, well, I didn't know. You looked at me like I didn't know what I was talking about. But like, seeing him holding that piece of equipment and the trap that Paul Rudd's talking about, you know what I mean? And they actually have clips from the first Ghostbusters, at least audio clips, playing, Now, I don't know if they're going to be in the movie, and probably not, and that's fine, but, And also, Jason Reitman's involved. His father directed the first one. So, and maybe the second, I'd have to check that, but definitely the first one. It gives me hope for this one. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it should be called Ghostbusters: A New Hope.
Yeah, right. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not going to rail on 2016, but that tried to be Ghostbusters and it just didn't pull it off. And it had nothing to do with the fact that they were all women. I mean, maybe, and I say maybe very strongly, played a role, but that was not the biggest problem with that movie by a long shot. You know what I mean?
It just wasn't funny. It just wasn't. There was a part where McCarthy's character went on and on. Like there were numerous scenes about her complaining about wonton soup. And I was like, it's just not fucking funny.
Well, and that's the thing, though. Like, that's the other thing about the first two Ghostbusters movies. They don't go out of their way to be funny. The comedy is very subtle throughout those movies. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's deadpan, sarcastic banter.
Right.
And not to mention the original four characters are very different from each other.
Yes.
But they're very different, but you get why they're friends and partners. Whereas I didn't understand why these other characters were together. I just didn't get it. And I liken the same thing to Ocean's 8. The exact same reason. It's not that because it's women, it's because they just don't fucking look like they give along. Now, I'll go even one further, because this is actually sort of going with the next trailer that we are going to talk about. There's all this flack about the new Charlie's Angels movie, right?
Right. Well, I is it, or because I actually haven't heard, to be honest. I can't say right.
Dude, it's bombing, and people are fucking hating on it because it's just saying it's just not a good movie. And Elizabeth Banks is under controversy because she directed the movie and she's also plays Bosley.
Right. Bosley or Bosworth?
Bosley.
Okay.
She said that men just don't like movies with women or something akin to that.
Oh, see, that's not a way to go. I mean, she's probably not wrong, but...
And here's the thing that we can all just say. Alita got a big following.
I want to see that, actually.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard it. I've heard either you'll love it or you won't like it. That's really what it is. Captain Marvel, and Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was a fucking kick-ass movie.
Did you hear about the petition for Brie Larson?
You have to be more specific. I've heard of petitions for her to be in Star Wars. I've heard of her to be kicked out of.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about Marvel. I'm talking about the being kicked out of Marvel, and it's hit like 360,000 signatures right now.
I don't understand that.
I don't know. I don't understand it either, and I'm not saying I agree with it or support it. I actually think it's kind of despicable that they even fucking made a petition about this. But still,
agreed.
I don't know. It's dumb. I think she did a good... I mean, look, without getting into a whole thing, do I think the character of Captain Marvel is very entertaining? No. But I don't think that's Brie Larson's fault. I think that's the writing of the story, to be honest with you.
We have said it numerous times that I think we would probably have a better palette of it if it was not shoved into us.
Exactly. I agree.
If we had gotten Captain Marvel circa Winter Soldier, we would be bitching less. If they gave us hints and peppered, there used to be someone in the 90s who fucking blah, blah, blah.
Without getting into a whole thing, because you know how we do with Marvel, so I'm really trying not to do that, but really they put this movie in so that she could take out Thanos' ship in Endgame. Really, that's what it boils down to.
Right.
And there's other ways they could have taken his ship down without having to do that, I think. But here we are.
She just, sort of going with what Steph called Lion King, it was beautiful, but not necessary. I mean, not to say, I don't know. I keep going back to that Elizabeth Banks comment. How we just don't like movies with strong women characters. Like, most people would agree Aliens is a better of the two of Alien and Aliens.
Right.
Largely because Sigourney Weaver is a fucking badass in the movie. Same with Terminator 2 over Terminator 1. There are those people that like just sci-fi horror as opposed to sci-fi action. That's fine. You're really not going to fucking, gain enemies when you're arguing with someone of which is better, T2 or T1. You know what I mean?
Even if you get off movies and just go to the media in general, Supergirl does really fucking well.
But Supergirl has its own criticism as well. But, I
Well,
agree.
what
Like,
doesn't have its own criticism? But
Well, look, see, Supergirl is getting a lot of praise, but Batgirl or Batwoman has gotten some praise, but a lot of negativity.
Which
a lot of
I don't get.
homophobic negativity.
well, that's If it's centered around that, then fuck all those people because that should have nothing to do with it. But yeah,
My point is, yes, fuck all those people, but also Elizabeth Banks, don't be the reversal of that troll.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
You made a bad movie that no one wanted. No one fucking asked for Charlie's Angels. I'm sorry.
You know, and she made a good movie. I don't know if she directed it, but she was in it, and good's a strong word, but it was entertaining to me, and that was that Power Rangers redo that was a couple years ago. She was
very good in that.
The movie itself wasn't very bad. I liked it a lot, actually.
I think it was, hanging on the coattails of Iron Man. It had a very Iron Man-y feel.
It did.
To it.
I will give you that. Yeah. I will tell you right now, like, I don't know. I'm looking up the director right now. No, she did not direct that. She was in it, but she did not direct it, which is whatever it is. I'm not. Yeah.
I think the other stuff that Elizabeth Banks has directed was the Pitch Perfect movies. She at least did the third one.
Which did well, if I recall.
Right. But those are very different films. It's about fucking a cappella group.
Right. I'm not.
But my point is...
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Going back to strong women characters. I'm sorry, Rico. I don't mean to interrupt you, but like, she was in a series of strong women character movies with the Hunger Games. They did very well.
Dude, she was in Spider-Man.
What was she in Spider-Man?
She played Betty Brant. She was J. Jonah Jameson's second secretary.
Right. I forgot. You're right.
Yeah, like, that's my point is like, she's been in the comic book movies, and she's also been the strong female character.
So,
but like, look, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I don't want to go off on the thing, but real just to touch on a couple things we've talked about. She's only directed 2 movies. The rest have all been shorts or TV related stuff. So the 2 movies are Charlie's Angels, the one we were just talking about, and Pitch Perfect 2. So of the, I believe, 4, there's only 1 that she's directed. Now it's 2.
A 4th one?
I think there is. Yeah, I'm gonna confirm, but I think there is.
Yet.
What's that?
It hasn't had a trailer. I didn't even know there.
Well, then
I know
I might
the first 3.
I might have my number wrong. I'm willing to admit that. Okay, you're right. There's only 3, but she did 2.
Okay.
So yeah. And then getting back to Ghostbusters really, really quick, Ivan Reitman did direct both the first and the second one, just to tie it off.
And if anyone can have that type of vision, it's his son. Jason Reitman has great vision. I mean, I've loved some of the movies he's done. I think Up in the Air is a very good film. Didn't he do Up in the Air?
I will check for you because I don't know. I know. Didn't he do Juno? I'm pretty sure he did Juno.
He did do Juno, and Juno is.
I like Juno. I'm a fan.
I like Juno, but I didn't love it as much as everyone else did. I liked Ellen Page, and I thought Michael Cera was Michael Cera.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought Bateman was really the strong lead in that movie, Jason Bateman.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've spoken about Jennifer Garner many times on this show, so.
Okay, so he was a producer in Up in the Air, but he did not direct it.
Alexander Payne, who directed it?
Hold on. You got me jumping around here a bit, buddy. Bear with me. Producer, where is Up in the Air? Here we are. Who'd you ask about the director was?
Payne?
No, actually, okay, so this is weird. In his credits, like if you go to his page on IMDb, it does not have him as the director, but if you go to Up in the Air, it lists him as the director. So I guess he did direct it.
Okay. So, Reitman? You mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so when a director has a producer's credit, they list that first in IMDb.
But if you go down to his director... Oh, it is here. I didn't see it the first time I looked. My bad. So.
No. Well, then I like I said, I liked Up in the Air. I thought it was a good film.
Now he also directed Tully, but I'm thinking of something else. What's that?
I rented it and I kept it for like 3 months and I never saw it. Yeah. I want to watch it.
I don't even know what that is because I was thinking Sully. To be honest with you,
it's a Charlize Theron is a like overworked single mom or something. I don't know. Speaking of strong fucking movies and strong female characters, the other trailer is fucking Wonder Woman 84.
Okay, so you and I briefly spoke about this before we started recording, and you said you were like, meh. I mean, it has nothing to do with the woman. You just weren't feeling it, if I got that.
My whole thing was, I'm already annoyed because I don't know how Chris Pine shows up. I don't know how they bring him back.
That's the biggest question I have. I have to agree with you there. I can't fight you on that anyway. That's my biggest question mark for me too. Yeah.
I am perpetually annoyed that it's different than Rise of Skywalker when you hear the Emperor laugh. You know what I mean? To hear Emperor Palpatine laugh.
Yeah, you're dealing with more of a. Well, I was going to say more sci-fi, but not really. I mean, it's more sci, but it's still a fantasy world at the end of the day.
Right. You can put a theory into that, whereas I don't know how they're doing a fan theory for this, unless just that he was frozen and then he was let out of his fucking carbonite thing.
Deb had a theory actually because she watched the trailer with me the second time I watched it, and she said maybe there were some chemicals in that plane that he was flying, and that in the scene in Wonder Woman that somehow preserved him. She doesn't know the specifics. She couldn't get into details, but she said to me that maybe there was something in that plane that he was flying.
Yeah, it was called gasoline. That should have what.
No, but there was something in the cargo too. I remember that. I just don't know if that would preserve him. But that's
I also have a slight. It kind of in its own way. Look, let's just be honest. The Warner Brothers DCEU is all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
But now it's even more glaring for me because it gives off the impression how Diana Prince is looking at the photo of Steve Trevor, and because Wonder Woman came out, so in Justice League or Batman v Superman, there's the implication that Steve Trevor died. And then in Wonder Woman, we saw him die in the plane. And then to have him come back in the 80s is sort of weird.
Unless he dies again. And this time for real. Again. Yeah. Which, I mean, I have to agree with you. If there's a plot hole or whatever you want to call it in this, it's that. That aside, so let's remove Steve Trevor from that. Dude. Now, we joke about our age difference all the time, but I think, in all seriousness, that's going to play a role here. Because I was around in 1984. I remember, the song that's playing throughout the trailer, for those not familiar with it, or even maybe for you, Rico, is a song called Blue Monday by a group called New Order. And if you're familiar with the song as much as I am, because I'm very familiar with it, I love that song, the beats to the trailer go to the beat of the song throughout. And so it has a very 80s love letter feel to it, and that speaks to me very highly. Do you know what I mean? Same thing with just going quickly back to Bumblebee, because Bumblebee takes place in the 90s, and so it has a bit of a 90s feel. So there's a lot of that going on there too.
Same with Captain Marvel, same with It, same with Stranger Things.
I haven't seen either.
There's this new resurgence for this nostalgia of the 80s. That's the funny thing is now the 80s
and the 90s
to the new generation. The 80s and the 90s to the new generation is the 50s and 60s to them.
Thanks.
Sorry, buddy, but that's the truth.
No, it is. You're right. So, but
that's why there's this overusage of like Stranger Things and It and ultimately Wonder Woman. I mean, when they told us, when they announced it was going to be set in the 80s, I was like, the fuck?
Well, I mean, it makes sense considering when the first one takes place. So, I mean, the 80s may be random, but the fact that it's not modern day, I'm okay with. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying.
But the first took place in 1917.
Okay, that's what Deb and I were talking about. I couldn't remember if it was World War I or II, so it had to be one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's, and then going back to your point, that's the part I don't get. Like, Steve Trevor doesn't age a day in 60, 70 years. Like, that's, yeah.
I mean, can I offer you my theory?
Please.
Somehow, because Kristen Wiig is Cheetah in this fucking movie.
Well, and if I could jump in for a hot second, like, we saw a lot of Steve Trevor in the movie, or in the trailer, I mean. And I would have liked to have seen a shot of her as Cheetah over all the Steve Trevor.
Well, we did see her in the trailer, but she's not in a Cheetah costume.
Or whatever. Now, see, I've heard that she actually ends up being some kind of like mutant thing.
Well, my whole thing is, I don't know much, but I have a feeling a villain, I don't know if it's Pedro Pascal or Kristen Wiig, is maybe they fucking cloned Steve Trevor or something. I don't know.
He seemed to know things, though.
Yeah, I don't know. See, that's my whole point, is like, I'm not really into this movie being like, I need to know. I am super pumped. I'm like, I'll see it. I'll see it.
I'm with you. I will say this, and I said this to Deb when we watched it. I feel like I like this better than at least already from the first one, and I like the first one, so I'm not even saying I don't like the first one. But this one, and maybe it's a nostalgia for me. I don't know. You know, but
yeah, and I can understand. I think you might be right. The fact that you lived in the 80s and I didn't is, I think, a big feature and factor in this. Whereas I think I liked, automatically, I'll probably like the first one more, even though it's got its faults.
It's good up until that last, like, 30, 45 minutes.
The last 20 minutes is pretty bad. Well, not bad. It's just, it's DCEU bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
right.
But I think my biggest thrill, but also my biggest confusion, was the final shot and her in the fucking like golden armor.
Yeah, I have to agree, because it felt very Aquaman-esque to me.
It didn't just feel Aquaman. For me, I was like, are they making her hot girl? And then I had to do research. I'm like, oh, it's a fucking costume that she gets in a fucking blah, blah, blah. Okay. It was, because I was never a big Wonder Woman
agreed
comics reader. I was so out. I was like, that's where I fucked up, where I was like, I have no fucking clue what this is.
That's fair, though. I mean, because I have to agree with you. Like, I had no idea what it was.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. I think so. Let's move on to the last thing that we're going to talk about before we start wrapping up for the night, and that is Disney+.
Ask 37.
What?
Ask Gobbler's 37.
No, that's for Jay to find. She'll find that one.
Okay.
Okay. No, but Disney+ has come out, and it's been out for a while. I know we're late to the party in terms of talking about it, but we've had it since launch week. I don't think we got a launch day. No, I don't think. Did I sign us up that day, or was it the day after? I think it was the day after.
It was like the day after. Yeah. It was a day off. Not a long. It wasn't the week.
No.
It was like, you know.
Well, I was going to say the week of, which would encompass the day after. But yeah, it was early on because, listen, man, the bulk of what we talk about is going to be on this thing. You know what I mean? And so we needed to be a part of it. What I didn't expect, and I will, before we get deeper into this, I will say that you and I and Logo Mike, when we did our Christmas movie debate episode, got into this a little bit then, and I decided to pull it from that episode, but we still have the audio, so that will be a bonus that people are going to hear later down the line. So, yeah. So you'll hear us talking about some of this stuff probably twice, and I'm sorry about that, but I wanted to come back to it again where we had more time to really dig in, because by that point we had been, 2 hours into Christmas movie debating, and I wanted to give it some more time. But a lot of the stuff that we're going to deal with over the next, I'd say 5 years, is going to be on this thing. You know what I mean? In terms of, like, Marvel content, at least, you know, with the... Go ahead.
I'm agreeing. I think I said this on the last time when you and I and Logan Mike were talking, and I'll repeat it. When I first heard about Disney Plus and how Disney was going to do a streaming site, my first reaction was, fuck you.
I think a lot of us shared that thought, to be honest with you.
And a lot of us are like, okay. Like, I think I repeated it. I'll repeat it again because it's such a good quote. There was a guy who made a tweet. He said, y'all are loving Disney Plus because you think you miss your childhood. The truth is you guys you've been so depressed for the past 20 years you forgot what happiness is.
No, you didn't say that before, but that's pretty fucking funny.
I thought I did. I thought I said that.
I don't think so, but regardless, so when I set up the account before I shared it with you and ultimately shared it with Logo Mike as well, I was blown away by the amount of content that's in here on launch, because it could have been easy for them to put out a handful of stuff and then so often put out, another handful of things and just roll it out, over the next 6 to 12 months. No,
sure.
No, they fucking shot their load, from jump, which is weird to say about Disney, but yeah.
They laid giant Disney Dirk Diggler dick. And, all right, well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I think I already know what it was. What was the first thing that you were like, oh, we're watching this, and you added this to your queue?
Oh, God, first thing. I mean, I know the first thing I added, but I don't know if it was the first thing I said that I had that reaction to. The first thing I added to my queue was the X-Men the Animated Series from the 90s.
Okay.
But I don't think that was the first, oh shit thing that I saw. You know what I mean? So, we were talking about with Wonder Woman, the nostalgia factor and having grown up in that era. And the same thing goes for, there's old school movies on here. I grew up watching Bedknobs and Broomsticks. You know what I mean? Mm. And I think we talked Mary Poppins a while back, but that kind of stuff is on here. And so stuff that I grew up on is at my fucking fingertips whenever I want it now. Whereas before, and you working in movies know this, if Disney didn't put it out of the vault, you were just fucked. Yeah. And now it's all here. You
had to look in your garage and find your old VHS tapes and find a VCR, hope it works. And
hope you had it in the first place. And there are still things that are never gonna see the light of day again. And I think I still have, but I have the Little Mermaid copy with the penis on the cover. Those things aren't, you're gonna lose some of that with this, obviously.
For sure. The Rescuers, Titty Flash.
I don't think I know that one,
Oh, okay, so you've seen The Rescuers?
Once, and it's been a long time, yeah.
Okay, so for our listeners who, if you don't remember The Rescuers, it's these two mice. One of them, I think, is Ava Gabor, and the other one's they're the heyday of 70s stars and shit. They go to rescue this little girl who's being she's held ransom by this abusive fucking Cruella de Vil bayou looking woman, shit like that. And so there's a part where in order for them to fly on a plane, they're flying on top of a seagull. And literally there's a part where the seagull is flying down and like going like a nosedive, and you see buildings and windows in the background. An animator quit and got so pissed off at Disney that he put in an actual photograph of a woman flashing her tits in the window.
Wow.
And that was like old school, like you had to like once that came out, every fucking like junkie for like Disney and movie junkies found their old like VHS tapes and like freeze framed that shit and confirmed it.
That's
I did
fucking
myself. I did it myself.
That's some fucking Tyler Durden shit. Cause that's that's what that is.
Yeah, that his name is Tyler Durden.
Yeah, no, his name is Robert Paulson. Get it right.
I know, but in this scenario, I'm calling his name Tyler Durden.
Yes, I agree. How do you pick up on that? Anyway, but it's really nice to have all this stuff at your like I said, your finger. You know, you asked me earlier the oh shit, right? Like what was the first thing? And I didn't just come across a browsing, like I went looking for it, but it was an old episode, the original DuckTales animated series.
Life is like a hurricane.
Fuck yeah, dude. So, like, because there's the newer one from like about 4 or 5 years ago. That's like
more recent than that, isn't it?
It might be. You might be right.
It looks shit.
It is. It's shit. You know, so
sucks.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, you have that. But I mean, movies you and I have talked about previously. We like you've got fucking National Treasure in here. You know what I mean? Obviously you've got the Marvel content. It's a little disappointing. Spider-Man won't be here, but that's Sony being Sony. So what are you gonna do? But
you have 98% of Star Wars.
You do of Star Wars. What's missing?
Last Jedi and Solo.
Why is The Last Jedi missing?
Because Netflix still has those rights for right now.
Oh, The Last Jedi. I'm sorry. I heard what you said and was picturing Return of the Jedi in my brain. And I'm like, why would Return of the Jedi be missing? Yes. Well, and Disney made a statement about that as the contracts with Netflix start ending, you'll see these things appear. So The Last Jedi will be here. You know, Solo will be here. To the same effect, I don't think Black Panther's in here yet because that's still on Netflix.
Well, here's the thing: a lot of stuff that's on Netflix is also on Disney+.
That's true because Endgame's on both. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, here's the thing: because I've had people ask me my opinion about this because I'm the manager of a fucking video rental store. Like shit like this does not help my business.
No, it doesn't.
Like, and you know, it's unfortunate. Like, even my own brother, like, he lives less than a mile away from where I work, right? Which is why when I'm working and he needs me to babysit, it's super convenient because I'm just down the road.
Sure.
They don't rent for me. They have children. Everything is streamed. Everything is fucking digital. Everything is Disney Plus and Netflix and HBO and Apple TV. Everything. I have, you know, coerced them and been like, Joel, so-and-so, come out and rent a movie. You know, I'm not going to charge you shit. Because I'm not going to charge them shit, even though they can afford it. Right. I want them to get in the habit of being like, oh, I want to get a movie? Oh, it's not on Netflix. Let's see if Rico has it. I want that to be the thing.
Right.
Now, because they have kids, now 99% of any reason for them to be like, oh, Netflix doesn't have it, let's call Rico, is now gone because now Disney's going to have it. Because any fucking Disney movie, which is the most likely they're going to want to rent for their kids, even though we have it, it's a fucking higher quality, you know, version of it, you know?
And it's at your fingertips. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
So I get it. is annoying, but I get it. And, I was already kind of prepared for the store to like potentially close 5 years ago. So I am proud that we're still going on, but if like, I would not be surprised if Disney was the final nail in the coffin for us, honestly.
I mean, with all respect, buddy, it might be. Like, I mean, like, like Disney owns the world right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's only a matter of time before they start buying Sony. Because, like, what's left? They own
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, that's the only thing I don't think they get their hands on. Because
but at the same time, there are studios that just go bankrupt and other studios buy them.
That's true, but
look at MGM.
Here's my fear, right? And I don't want to get into for real. Like, I don't want to get into a whole thing here, but if Sony were to buy Warner Brothers, right?
Me or Disney?
Or Disney, excuse me. Thank you. If Disney were to buy Warner Brothers, you could have, and I'm sure this has happened in comic books, so I'm positive it does, but you could have Batman standing next to Tony Stark. And I don't want that. Like,
they're not gonna. Here's the thing: they're not gonna do that.
Well,
especially if you have a Feige who's controlling the whole thing,
right? Which is true, and I know this is slightly different, but they're talking about merging the Fox properties with the MCU. It's not even talking; it's going to happen. Like, and as far as I understand, Deadpool's the first like foray into that.
I had heard he was the only. I didn't hear any of like.
They're bringing the X-Men in. The X-Men are coming in eventually. It may not be the original people that we know, like Hugh Jackman, but they're bringing the X-Men into the MCU.
But obviously, that's why they bought them in the first place.
Yes,
we knew that going into it.
But that at least makes sense to me. That I can wrap my brain around. I don't want to see Superman sitting next to Captain America. But
here's the thing. They've owned Star Wars for fucking 5 years too. They're not. When was the last time you saw Darth Vader staying next to Iron Man? Not going to happen.
But that's even less likely than say Batman.
It's not likely because the only time that would ever happen is if they did like a what if comic, like like the what if comic books,
which they are doing. They're doing
I mean, dude, the brilliant thing of comic books is that like. You can have weird crossovers for one thing. They may do they may actually team up with Warner Brothers and say, we want to do a crossover. We want Justice League versus Avengers. You get half the profits, we get half the profits.
Right, and as a one-off, I'd be okay with that. I really would, because I think that would be a fun fucking movie if they did the Justice League half right, because we know the Avenger half is going to be fine. But, and honestly, I don't know if they get him to do it, and I guess it depends on how well the Batman does, but with all respect to Robert Pattinson, you bring Affleck back for that. You know what I mean? But that's a whole nother discussion,
Comics are weird, dude. They made a Superman fighting Muhammad Ali issue.
I remember. But let's because that's a whole other thing that we could get into for hours. And I'm not saying I don't want to have the discussion, but that's not what we're here for tonight. So let's, kind of back off into the Disney World itself. So you asked me, what was the first one for you? What was the oh shit for you?
The oh shit for me, again, the first one I added was not the oh shit. It was like, I think it was The Mandalorian.
Well, but see, I knew that was there, so.
Right. But like, that was the first one I added. I think it's so funny because I could have gotten this on Hulu. I think the first oh shit I had for me was The Simpsons.
Well, yeah, it's funny because I agree with you. That was like, even though you knew that Disney bought Fox and got that property, it was just odd to see it,
I had forgotten. That's what it was. I had forgotten that Simpsons was purchased. That now The Simpsons, which is even funnier because there's references in The Simpsons show because they make fun of Fox all the time.
Yeah,
that was their appeal, is they're making fun of their own network. But then they would make jokes of like Disney buying Fox way back in the 80s.
Well, and again, this is probably for another episode, but there's a whole fucking thing on the internet about how the Simpsons are fucking like time travelers, or the people who write the Simpsons are time travelers because they've predicted like 15 or 20 different things or whatever it is. But
not to mention Trump becoming president.
Well, that was one of those things, but yeah. The thing that it was to your point about the Simpsons making fun of their network is that when Disney Plus launched, they made a Simpsons commercial. Did you see that? Where I think Bart's dressed up like Mickey and Homer's in the Iron Man suit, and they're making fun of all the stuff that's on Disney Plus. But it was well done, and it was funny, and it was on point. To that same effect, there are some negative things happening on here. Do we want to talk about these? I think we have to.
Briefly, yeah. I'll drop one. You could drop the other because I think there's two at the top of our heads.
Sure.
The aspect ratio.
For like Simpsons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were still talking about the Simpsons.
Well, I'm just talking as a whole, but yes, the Simpsons is part of that. Yeah.
But there's a lot of jokes that are being literally cut off.
Yeah.
That are like in the background. And I noticed it. I'm watching. I'm like, this is fucking weird. It's too zoomed in.
Right. And it's because they're cutting out like socially unacceptable or racially unacceptable things that were okay when the thing was made, when the episode was made. You know, to that same effect. What's that?
Because it was Fox.
Right. Well, not only just because it was Fox, but it was a time. You think about like, I'm not going to bring up names, and Rico, I'm going to ask you not to too, even though you know who I'm talking about. We were in a discussion just tonight before we started recording about Chasing Amy and remaking Chasing Amy, and you can't for the same reason, because at the time it was made, Kevin didn't do anything wrong. And I would still argue he's not done anything wrong, but if you were to remake it as is today, or make it fresh as is today, you'd insult a lot of people.
You know, let me say this. One, when Kevin wrote Chasing Amy, he said what he said and that was the whole point, was he was pushing that boundary.
Exactly.
You can hear the term faggot and be offended by it, and see someone's, like a lesbian's character, recoil of the usage of it, but show that it's just, but
look, people's perspectives have changed.
I'm not going to spoil anything. You need to see Reboot. And I think the reason why is because while there's not so much a transgendered or lesbian type of character, there is that new generation that is portrayed that would be offended if they saw Chasing Amy. But I also think those same characters would appreciate Chasing Amy, be like, this was it. This is where it started.
Right. And that's why I'm not saying anything negative about the movie, because I don't have any negative feelings about the movie. I don't have any negative feelings about the things that are said about the movie, because I can put it in the context of when it takes place and when it was made.
Right.
You know, and the same thing goes to what's going on with The Simpsons and the aspect ratio, and why they shouldn't be changing it because of when it was made and what it's referencing at the time that it was made. Do you know what I mean?
But I did not, I heard their rebuttal, Disney's rebuttal about that.
Okay.
Because eventually, in the later seasons of The Simpsons, it did switch to that aspect ratio. Fox did that. So for what I heard is Disney just kept it as it was current. There may have been like, oh, we should cut out this dirty joke in the background, or this racially insensitive joke in the background.
Right.
But their argument was, this is how it has been for the past 4 or 5 years. We were just sticking with it.
Huh.
And they have since said that they're going to change it in about a year. They're going to change it back to the original one.
Okay.
So there was some backlash, but I also, in the same argument, do understand why they dropped the iconic Michael Jackson episode.
Well, I hadn't gotten to that yet, but yeah, that's if you look through the episode library, just to clarify for our listeners, if you have Disney Plus and you go into the Simpsons episode and you look through the library of episodes, there is one episode that has been completely removed, and it's the one where Michael Jackson plays the patient at the hospital. I don't want to be insensitive to somebody, so yeah.
And whatever their decision to do it, it's their choice. Personally, I wasn't looking for it. I had forgotten about it. But the ultimate irony is that they make references to that episode in other episodes.
Yeah.
Many times.
And I don't think people were looking for it. Like, I don't think, well, maybe there was somebody there. I'm sure there was some person that was out there looking to see what was different. But my guess is that most people were just watching from the beginning and it just skipped the episode and they went, wait a minute, something's missing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they listened to a later episode and be like, oh yeah, that reference to Michael Jackson where he doesn't use his own name. They're like, wait a minute, that shit did happen. When the fuck did we miss that? And they're going to look up online and find out and be like, oh, that dirty mouse. He dropped that shit.
Right. You know, so.
You dirty cat.
But yeah, I mean, that does happen apparently. So, like anything, there's going to be controversy. You know what I mean?
And yeah, you're telling me Disney does not have any controversy, so
right.
But to go to your earlier question of some of the what the fuck, like oh shit,
yeah,
one of them was Tom and Huck.
Oh wow,
do you know of Tom and Huck?
Yeah, it's been a long fucking time.
Dude, Tom and Huck was my shit when I was. And no joke, Steph and I might watch it tonight. We're gonna watch something else first. No, it's not Ask Gobblers 37.
It better not be porn at all. I'm just saying.
Why can't Steph and I watch porn?
That's weird. I don't want to think about you guys watching porn. Let's put it that way. So.
Why?
'Cause I don't want to think about you guys watching porn.
You know we have sex too, right? Did you not know this?
Yeah, I'm aware of this fact. I just don't want to think about it.
How are you aware of this fact?
Because you're heterosexual people in a relationship.
Right. So why can't we watch porn at the same time?
You can. I just don't want to.
We fuck, but we can't watch people fuck?
No, you can do both. I don't want to think about either of them.
What kind of Disney Plus fucking censorship bullshit is this, EJ?
All right, will you move on, fucker?
Yeah, when we watch porn, we watch with the proper aspect ratio. Nothing gets cut off. Let's put it that way.
Oh Jesus! I hope not, for your sake.
Tom and Huck.
Okay.
Was Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn, and it was Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Brad Renfro.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Is it what I mean, I may have a completely different opinion because I haven't seen it in probably 15 to 18 years or something akin to that because
Sure.
it was legit, like, scary. Like, Injun Joe, and I don't mean to use the fucking term for, Native American Joe just doesn't fucking work. I'm sorry.
Right.
The motherfucker wrote him as Injun Joe. I'm not going to repeat everything that Sam Clemens or Mark Twain wrote. But
fair enough.
The guy who plays him and the character himself is scary as shit to the point where he's throwing knives. And it's like, there's a part like Injun Joe murders somebody with a knife. This is a Disney movie where this guy, like a dude gets stabbed repeatedly.
Wow.
And Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn see the murder happen. They know it's Injun Joe. And then Injun Joe blames it on, or frames someone else. And that guy's going to be hung. So Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn are like racked with guilt of like, we know who actually fucking did this. Do we do anything about it? There is legit a part. And I think if I remember, Injun Joe knows Tom Sawyer saw him because he saw like a kid run, and he recognized him in blah, 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 blah. Circumstance. There's a part where Injun Joe corners Tom Sawyer, and this is like, I don't know where it's set. It's set in the fucking, country, southy. It looks bayou-esque, like swampy-esque and desert and country shit. There's a part where Injun Joe corners Tom Sawyer in a fucking like woods or something, and then like throws a knife and it hits a tree next to Tom's head. He's like, pull the knife out and come over here, and he's like, use the knife on me, and like pulls the knife, starts walking closer, and like Injun Joe like pulls out his chest. He's like, stab me, like just do it, stick it in me, boy. Like, and I'm like, this is fucking Disney,
right?
Like, later watching like the Avengers and shit, like holy or like when Disney was crossed over with Netflix, I had the same reaction when I watched The Punisher and Daredevil. I'm like, holy fuck, the mouse is a dark side.
Yeah. Which, by the way,
Huck,
I don't know what they paid Netflix, but a lot of those characters are coming back a lot faster than they were supposed to.
the characters, not the same actors as what I've heard.
Some of them. Charlie Cox is apparently being kept as Daredevil.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. And I think Barenthal is being kept as Punisher. So
I mean, not to say the other characters are not as good, but the other characters are not as good.
I would love for them to keep Ritter as Jessica Jones, because I think she did
Kristen Ritter. Yeah,
thank you. I couldn't remember her first name. Yeah.
So yeah, man, that Tom and Huck was a dark movie. There's a line at the end because at one point Huck tries to save the day and like comes out of nowhere and hits Injun Joe when Injun Joe's about to like kill Tom Sawyer, and they're fighting and like it's like a knife fight. They're trying to stab each other and shit. And Injun Joe says this line, and it's forever been seared in my brain. He's like, "You've got guts, boy, and pretty soon they're going to be on the ground." Oh,
okay.
Like, fuck. So all your bed knobs and broomsticks and shit, watch Tom and Huck and tell me that is not a fucking dark ass movie.
It sounds like it. But I want to back up a minute because, you were asking about oh shit moments, and like I literally have Disney Plus pulled up on the screen right now, and I'm looking through it as you're talking, and the amount of stuff that Disney owns now that I either didn't realize that they got from the acquisitions they made. I don't know. But like, for example, like I'm looking at this and like, they own The Sandlot. Now it might have been a Disney movie to begin with, I'm not sure, but like, I love that fucking movie. Do you know what I mean? And like, they own Home Alone. Home Alone was not a Disney product. That was a Fox product. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
They've got all this different stuff. There's movies on here that I've never seen that I've been wanting to see for years, and I've just never had access to them without paying for them. Like The Rocketeer. I've never seen that movie. I've been wanting to see that movie for years.
I've never seen it either. I've heard only good things about it.
Same.
Well, here's the thing. They have almost everything.
Yeah.
And I'll say this. One of the bigger oh shit was oh shit, Steph, have you seen this? We gotta have to watch this. Was the first thing that we watched apart from Mandalorian, because I don't count Mandalorian. I'm talking about like old school nostalgia.
Right, sure.
Heavyweights. Heavyweights was a live action Judd Apatow written type of, it's like a Ben Stiller kids comedy.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
It's about this kid who goes to fat camp, and it's all promises of it going to be an amazing summer. And when he gets there, it's bought. The owners got fucked in a someone signed the wrong line. So it's a new owner, and it's played by Ben Stiller. And Ben Stiller is basically playing the exact same character he plays in Dodgeball years later.
Oh God.
Like a fitness, like, let me tell you what's going to happen. You're all going to lose here. You're all going to lose that poundage. And I used to be like you. And I used to be like you. And I was even just like you. Like, shit like that. So it's all about these
right.
going through the worst summer of their lives and then, like, switching and, like, taken the counselors and the director hostage. And it's a lot of who's who becomes famous. Like Alan Covert is in it. Adam Sandler's buddy. And the director, ironically enough, of the newer 2016 Ghostbusters, Paul Feig, is in it.
Okay.
Kenan Thompson from eventually SNL, but was like a big star in Nickelodeon.
Which, by the way, you heard about Cal, right?
No. What happened to
He
Cal?
became a certified Baptist minister this week or last week, I think.
Does he still love orange soda?
What?
Oh, that was a whole thing on fucking the show that Kenan and Kel. You never watched Kenan and Kel?
No, the only thing I've ever seen is Good Burger.
Oh, okay. Well, in Kenan and Kel, he's obsessed with orange soda. All right, whatever. Good for him. That's what the world fucking needs. Is more goddamn.
I wasn't saying it like a bad thing. I was just like, hey, did you hear this?
No, you mentioned it as a good thing. I'm like, oh, great. What we need now is another fucking minister.
Yeah, well, I forgot I was talking to the atheist.
You a Buddy Christ as a joke.
Yes, you did, but I fucking love it. I really do. So the point to all this though is there's a lot on here, and like for what they're charging for this. Look, I've been a Netflix subscriber now for it's got to be 10 to 15 years now. Like I was a member when you were getting discs in the mail, so like that's how long I've had this thing. And I feel like I'm already getting more out of this.
I think what I would probably likely do is I would probably keep both. I mean, obviously you're paying for the Disney+, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've also said like I'll give you money if you want.
You have,
money.
yeah, you have, yeah.
But I haven't been on Netflix in the only time I actually actively went on Netflix was to watch The Irishman recently.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Okay, and if you want to deep dive it at a later time, that's fine, because I do intend to watch it, but can you give me like a 30-second what you think of it?
Okay, first off, it's long.
Oh, I knew that, yeah, it's long, yeah.
It's long with a fucking hard-ass G at the end, like longer.
Like too long?
It's too fucking long.
Okay.
You might be bored, honestly. Now, my other criticism, and there's not a lot of criticism. It is not the Scorsese mob movie you think it's going to be.
Okay.
It is not Goodfellas. It is not Casino. It's not even Taxi Driver. It's not even fucking, I mean, look, Scorsese's still a great filmmaker, and it's a beautifully shot film, and it's well acted. Yes, that's right. It is all exposition. It is.
Well,
you know how like Ray Liotta narrates Goodfellas?
Yeah.
This is a movie where if Ray Liotta was in the home, like in the old folks' home, telling his life story, and you're like, okay, Grandpa Henry, like let's go. It's like,
well, I mean, to be fair, from a gangster movie perspective, I'll take Coppola movie over Scorsese.
Really?
Oh, I love The Godfather and Godfather 2.
Okay, but that's it.
I still would take those over any of Scorsese's.
Okay, all right. It's a good thing you brought that up because Godfather is substantially slower than Goodfellas to a total degree.
Sure.
This would probably be, in terms of pacing, closer to The Godfather than Goodfellas.
Then I might actually enjoy it for that reason.
But the difference is that you are enthralled with everything the Godfather is doing, whereas in this fucking movie, and it's still a great movie, you are kind of like, all right, get to the fucking point.
Well,
like, there were a couple of times where I'm like, let's go, Marty, hurry up.
and maybe this is better for a deeper discussion another day, but like, for all his bloviating and blowhardness about the Marvel movies, does it hold up? I mean, it like Like, but I'm saying if you're gonna come out talking shit like that, then you better be, and know you're dropping a movie soon, it better basically throw double middle fingers up at those movies.
I had more of a emotional reaction to Avengers Endgame than I did to Irishman.
And it's almost, they're equally as long almost.
Yeah, but the difference is like when I saw Endgame, I was enthralled with everything. When a character died, I cried. When a character, appeared, I cried and cheered. When I saw Al Pacino show up in The Irishman, I said, "Oh my God, it's Al Pacino. He didn't do shit."
And I'm not going to defend Marty because I'm not a big fan of what he had to say, but with Endgame, you had 10 years of build. You know what I mean? Whereas Irishman, it's like, here's 3.5 hours of something you've never seen before.
But if you're a fan of Scorsese, you've been, like I have, I've been following this movie for about 5 to 6 years.
Right, but you didn't have a build with these characters.
True. The only thing you could argue is like, well, there's Goodfellas, there's Casino, and then there's this one. I want to reiterate, it's a good movie.
Right, I get you. But I'm saying but De Niro's character in Casino is not De Niro's character in The Irishman, am I correct?
Correct.
It's not, that's what I'm saying. RDJ is RDJ from Iron Man 1 through Endgame.
But I will say that because people watch, like, Goodfellas and Casino and think they're getting another one in the Irishman, De Niro is essentially a combination of his character of Goodfellas and in Casino. In Casino, he's not a criminal. He's just the owner of the casino with criminal ties. In Goodfellas, he's a criminal. In this one, he's a criminal who is caught in a situation where you don't, like, anybody who even knows anything about Jimmy Hoffa knows, like, it's not a big spoiler. It's fucking Titanic hits the iceberg. Jimmy Hoffa is going to go down in the movie.
Right.
It's Jesus gets nails up on the cross. Like, we know shit's going down for Al Pacino.
Right.
You don't know how, you don't know when, you don't know why. That's what this movie's all about. I will say 2 more things about this, and then we can move on, because there's something about Disney I do want to continue talking about.
Okay.
Joe Pesci is easily my favorite part of The Irishman. I am more annoyed that Joe Pesci retired years ago, because there was a potential amount of a lot of good Joe Pesci shit that we never got. Joe Pesci is so goddamn good in The Irishman. Easily more amazing than Pacino and De Niro combined, in my opinion.
It's funny because, and I don't want to get into a discussion about it tonight, but like I like Pesci's non-gangster stuff better than his gangster stuff. I'm not saying I don't like them. I'm just saying, though, if I'm stacking them up side by side, I like his non-gangster stuff better.
Do you include My Cousin Vinny in that? Because he's kind of borderline gangster.
No, you're right. He borders there, but to me, it's not gangster. It's just New York, as opposed to gangster. I know what you're saying, and I'm not here to debate, the semantics here, but to me, that's, but yes, My Cousin Vinny, Home Alone, like those movies.
But I would also say in Home Alone, even though it's essentially a wacky kids movie, he's still a criminal in Home Alone.
No, he's a criminal, but he's not a gangster. And there's a very distinct difference between a criminal and a gangster, and you have to give me that. I mean,
okay, and I'll reiterate, in My Cousin Vinny, he's a gangster, he's just not a criminal. Give me that.
I don't know that I can, but maybe that's another debate. So anyway, go ahead.
Well, that's all I'm saying is Pesci, but you might like Pesci's performance the most in this because he's not doing his funny how kind of Goodfellas gangster thing.
Right.
This is the most chill Joe Pesci you will ever see. He is not raving like a lunatic. He is laid back, and he's the boss. He is playing the Paul Sorvino role from Goodfellas. I'm going to give you a look type of mobster boss.
Okay. Which after what they did to him in Goodfellas, he kind of earned that. So,
right. De Niro's good, Pacino's good, Pesci's good. Ray Romano is surprisingly good in it.
I know you were hesitant about that when you saw he was in it. I remember you saying that.
He plays a lawyer. It's funny. You watch him, you're like, okay, of course he's going to play the lawyer. He's going to play the cousin to Joe Pesci's character, who happens to be a lawyer. He's like a he is the My Cousin Vinny. He just is closer to the mob connection.
Right. But he's not. But to a quick point, he's not Carl. He's not. I can't remember his last name. Robert Duvall's character from Godfather.
Oh, Hagen. He's not Tom Hagen.
Yeah,
he's
Tom Hagen. Sorry,
He's not a consigliere.
Well, even at one point, he's no longer the consigliere, but he's still the lawyer for the family. You know.
Yeah, he gets dropped in Godfather 2 as consigliere and just becomes lawyer. Anyways, it's a good film. It's just fuck. It's long. I will give all the actors credit because they are playing these guys in different parts of their lives. And the de-aging, I can handle it. It's a little jarring, but once you're kind of like into the movie, you don't really notice it that much unless you really look at their eyes. Right. The eyes is a big giveaway. But there's one part, and I'm going to mildly spoil this because I want you to know this. So when you do watch it, you tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Sure.
There's a part where De Niro's character is maybe about 30 or 35 at the most. He's supposed to be young. And his daughter comes home and tells him that the florist or the shopkeeper, something around the corner, pushed her. Like, was being a dick. Or like she broke something and he pushed her out of the store. So he's like, he pushed you, he put his hands on you, and he grabs his daughter's hand, they walk down the market. So the camera's outside of the store. De Niro walks into the store. You see them scuffle through the windows. And then he throws the fucking shopkeeper out through his window, like fucking Axel Foley.
Right.
Throws his ass out the window. Goes out, starts kicking him, and the guy's screaming like, oh no, Frankie, don't do it. No, don't hurt me. I'm sorry. That's the most when I could just tell De Niro is 80 years old right there. Because De Niro is trying to look tough, kick a dude in the face while he's on the ground, and it looks like an old man kicking. It's just like, it's so like, all right.
He's not 80 yet. Let's give the guy some credit.
Okay, he's 79?
6.
Fuck off. It looks like a 76-year-old man. It looks like my dad trying to kick a guy on the street. Because my dad does look like De Niro, and my dad's 82. So, and my dad just fucked up his leg, so even more so it looks like him trying to kick someone. Also, I'm saying, that's the part where I'm like, oh, fuck, Bobby. Take it easy. Like,
all right.
Should have done a different angle for this one. Just a wide shot of him trying to kick it, dude. Looked, it was shit that definitely should not be.
I gotcha. So you said you had another Disney point you wanted to mention.
The other thing I want to mention is that of all the things that Steph and I can watch, we have been going through a Disney marathon. She sent me and I think we sent it to you as well. A link.
Oh yes, she sent me a picture. It wasn't a link, but it was a picture.
The picture. Yeah. So of these different eras in Disney and the movies within the era. So like, for example, there's the Golden Age, which is 1937 to 1942. Snow White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, and Bambi. That is called the Golden Age. So what Steph and I are doing is we're going through like mini marathons. We're not doing each fucking age in a day, but we're like, all right, we're going to the Golden Age.
Sure.
We're going to watch all these movies. So we went through the Golden Age and we are in the middle of the Silver Age. So that consists of, and these are in order. Like, so it's Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland. We watched those two. Next up is Peter Pan. I gotta tell you, I loved Peter Pan when I was a kid. I am not looking forward to this. I am not looking forward to Peter Pan.
I don't know if you want to make this a deeper discussion another day, but I love Hook. I don't know if I'd want to watch this, but I love Hook.
I love Hook. That was one of the reasons why you and I started talking was because I did a fucking review of Hook.
That's true.
Hook is amazing. But like Peter Pan, the Disney one, is hard to watch based on just like how shitty Peter Pan is. He's a real asshole.
Well, and that again, it goes back to something we were talking about earlier with Chasing Amy. It's the time it's made. It's the all that stuff. So
yeah, the whole Native American thing. I mean, I did talk about Injun Joe for 20 goddamn minutes.
And
but
there's the crows from which movie is that one?
Oh, yeah, that was hard.
Which one's that in again? Dumbo. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. So
yeah, I gotta say, thankfully they kept the fucking crows at the goddamn end.
I did hear, by the way, you mentioned this several weeks back when we heard Disney Plus was coming, or right when it launched, but before we got a chance to like get our fingers on it, for lack of a word. And you were asking about the Lady and the Tramp live one, the live action one, and how they were going to pull off the We Are Siamese segment. And I don't know if you've looked into this, but I have, and I've talked to somebody who's watched it, and they've apparently just cut that completely out of the movie like it never happened.
Good.
No, it's good, I agree, but I'm saying the point is you were curious how they were going to pull it off, and they ultimately just chopped it.
I'm also just curious, because Disney Plus did make, like, they'll have information about certain films, like if it's, like, Songs of the South. The whole zip-diddy-doo-dah fucking movie.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Uncle Remus? You don't know about Uncle Remus? One of the most fucking racially insensitive things Disney's ever done was a whole movie called Songs of the South. And it has Brer Rabbit, I think, is in it. Is that... Help me out here, Steph. Brer Rabbit and the there's a part where a rabbit is chased into like a thorn bush by a wolf and a bear or something. It's been many times since I've seen it.
Well, I mean, let me say this. Like, when it comes to racially insensitive stuff, sometimes, right? And hear me out, because if you don't hear me out, it's going to sound worse than I mean it. So, I'm very much like Randolph from Clerks 2, in that I don't use it because I tend not to say things that are terribly ill anyway. In general, it's not my nature, but like a lot of things that are racially insensitive may go over my head. Does that make sense? Because I'm just not exposed to it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
What do you mean?
Are
you telling me I'm a racist?
No, I'm not saying you're a racist. I'm saying you'd be able to pick this up pretty quickly.
Well, maybe, but I'm just saying, like, in general, I'm not saying you're wrong about that specific, but in general, that happens to me. Like, I've never used things that were wrong, but like, I've heard people say things, and I'm like, okay, well, what's wrong with that? Like, using Clerks as the example. If he hadn't, and I'm quoting from the movie, so for people that are listening, like, I'm not siding with this, but like, if they hadn't explained what Porch Monkey was in the movie, I would have been like, what was the problem there? Do you know what I mean? Because the first time I heard that phrase was that movie.
Agreed.
You know,
I will reiterate that Randall's argument almost goes up in flames when he uses the N-word. It's like, my grandma did once refer to a broken bottle as a blank knife.
Right.
Which he just says it without even thinking about it.
Right.
Which means his whole argument's bullshit. When I rewatched that movie pretty recently, I was like, Randall is a fucking racist. What the fuck? He says them with such no fear.
But if you don't know the weight behind it, how can you have the fear? That would be my only argument to it. Like, you know, like, he knows that word. I'm not disagreeing with you there, but I'm saying as a whole, like, the phrase that he's trying to take back and like, the curse that he refers to that I'm not going to use the name of. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that.
In Song of the South, though, Brer Rabbit gets caught because the wolf and whatever the fuck, the bear and the wolf, I think they make a tar baby. They make an actual dummy with like a, corncob like pipe in his like a snowman, but made of tar.
Interesting.
And Brer Rabbit walks by and says, "Hi, how are you?" And the thing doesn't say shit because it's not a fucking living thing.
Right.
So all right, punch you in the nose. Punches the nose, gets his arms caught. So he's like, punches it, gets caught up in this fucking thing. Obviously, tar baby was a fucking racial term.
Sure.
Now, I mean, back then, it's just what you called a little kid who was black.
Right.
You know, it's
right.
awful, but, you know.
No, it is
so
awful, yeah.
My point is that Disney Plus, for stuff like that, I'm actually willing to bet that it might be at the beginning of Peter Pan. They apparently are adding little snippets saying,
I heard of this, yeah.
Like, just fair warning, this can be a little racially insensitive. So, I gotta give Disney credit. I would be more pissed off if they just cut it. I think they should own up. Like, we were racist as fuck back then.
Right.
We are sorry.
No. And I'm fearful this is going to open up a deeper discussion than I really want to have right now. But to that same point, then what's your thought of them cutting it out of the live-action Lady and the Tramp as opposed to leaving it intact and just doing the live version? And putting that thing at the front, the disclaimer.
I think if you're going to reboot or remake something, you have a little bit of creative freedom.
Sure.
And I think cutting something like that, look, all things said and done, as much of a racist-ass song that was a catchy-ass song when we were little, right?
I don't think I know the song, so I'll go with sure.
We are Siamese.
Oh, that song. I thought you meant the other one, the other song you were talking about.
No. That's what I'm talking about. When you're a little-ass kid, you don't know that shit's racist.
No, you don't.
It just sounds like a funny-ass song.
Yeah.
I didn't know Siamese was a fucking thing.
Right. Well, that goes back to the point I was just making about other stuff. You know, if you don't know, it doesn't make it less wrong, but you have to be given a little leeway if you truly don't know the origin of the insensitivity. You know what I mean?
Right. You know what? You know how stupid I was when I was a kid? When I thought Siamese was like that, they called we are Siamese because they looked exactly the same. I thought it was a fucking pun on Siamese twins, which I thought just meant conjoined twins.
As opposed to, right. Yeah.
I didn't know they were from fucking Siam.
Right.
Because I was 3.
Right. And that's the point. Like, and again, I feel like this is a deeper discussion for a different day, but if you're unaware of a term or a word being racially insensitive and then you become aware of it and continue to use it, then you're fucking racist. But if you don't know, you know.
To be fair, the phrase and the song is not racist.
No.
It looks fucking racist now.
Yes.
Because they're taking cats that are Siamese cats and making them have Asian voices.
Right.
That's the racist. They did the same thing with the Aristocats.
They did the same thing with fucking, the Phantom Menace with the Trade Federation.
Yeah. But, like, true. Ironically enough, Disney had nothing to do with that one.
No.
That was all George Lucas's fault.
They own it now, but it wasn't their fault. Yeah.
Dude, I told that to Joel because he was like, "Oh man, Disney's been doing racist weird shit ever since they bought it. They went all the way back to Phantom Menace." I'm like, "Oh no, dude, that's all George Lucas." I was like, Disney bought Star Wars for Force Awakens. That's post Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. George Lucas did all that racist shit himself.
That was all on him, yeah.
All.
I want to move on to a positive thing before we wrap up because we've been at this for a bit now. We're going to be putting out the conversation, like we mentioned, with Logo Mike from the debate episode, and in that discussion, we do talk about the Mandalorian pretty extensively up through episode 5. Since we've recorded that, episode 6 has dropped. So I would like to talk about episode 6 just in and of itself before we finish off the night, because one of the complaints I've heard about the Mandalorian, and I know there's been a few, but which I don't think any of them are really founded, to be honest with you. Like, I don't have a problem with any of the things I've heard, unless I'm missing one. But the ones I've heard, I don't have a problem with. But this particular, the one complaint I've heard consistently is that it's not very Star Wars, except that it takes place in that universe, right? This episode felt the most Star Wars of all 6 of them to this point, to me.
I would agree with the exception of when he first meets the stormtroopers and the not Moff Tarkin, Werner Herzog dude in like the hidden, when he gets the job to get the kid.
Oh, no, I'm talking about episode 6, specifically.
I know, I'm saying I agree with you. There's also that other one that I would say, you know, if people are trying to think that this is not really a Star Wars thing, rewatch Rogue One. Because Rogue One
Agreed.
has a lot of not really Star Wars shit.
Yes. No, Tim, look, I'm not saying that's how I feel about it. I'm telling you that's to me, it feels right in line with everything else. You know, is it Skywalker? Is it Han? Is it Leia? Is it Chewie? Is it that core group of people? And even going forward, you can't even say going forward because it takes place right after Return of the Jedi. So people like Rey and Finn and them potentially aren't even born yet. You know what I mean? So
like another 5 to 10 years from being
exactly,
born. Yeah.
exactly. So you know. To say it's not part of that core group is accurate, but it doesn't make it any less Star Wars to me. So
I don't understand why they can accept fucking the Ewoks movies, but they can't accept this.
Well, I think the same people who don't accept those don't accept this. You know what I mean? I think we're talking about the same people.
Those are the same people that don't accept Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. And as far as they're concerned, the only ones that they consider Star Wars is fucking Star Wars.
4, 5, and 6. Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't even like Return of the Jedi. It sucked.
Well,
fucking
whatever.
Ewoks.
Yeah, well,
George Lucas.
It's like you and Henry, because I went back and listened to the Podiversary episode recently, just because I needed something to listen to. And you and Henry fucking went off about Ewoks blinking for like 20 minutes. And I'm like, really?
Fair enough. I got no
you did. No, you did. You fucking tore into the Ewoks blinking, and I'm like, come on.
I know. It wasn't 20 minutes, though.
Yes, it was.
20 minutes to be complaining about Ewoks blinking?
We had them for like 35 minutes, and most of it was, Star Wars related. Yeah.
Star Wars for 20 minutes, not fucking Ewoks blinking.
That's probably half of it, though, so I'll say 10 of the 20 minutes.
All right, at least give me that. It's 10 minutes.
Still, that's a long time to be complaining about fucking teddy bears blinking. I'm sorry. That's all I'm saying.
Before we deep dive even further into this, because, I mean, there's a couple mild spoilers. If you're not interested, if you're not caught up with this episode, or even you haven't watched The Mandalorian, I'm just going to say good night.
Yeah,
just
real.
Now.
Yeah,
then
real.
You can stop now. And then he and I are going to spoil a little bit more of Mandalorian. And then the clip of me, him and Mike will fucking, sort of.
Which
tail
at
us
this
off.
point, I think I'm going to put out as a bonus episode because we're so deep. We've been at this for quite a while. So.
And disregard everything I just fucking said.
No, just don't listen to that bonus. But, that said, like, the one thing that I thought you would appreciate more than anything to me with episode 6 of The Mandalorian is, while I don't take back my statement that it feels very Star Wars, about halfway to 2/3 of the way through, it takes a very horror film feel very quickly.
That's what I told Steph. I'm like, this is a fucking horror film. This is a straight up, like, it's like Friday the 13th. It's Star Wars. Like, the weird thing is, like, it's Mandalorian is the Jason.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Mandalorian.
And yet, as much as you and I have talked about the fact that I'm not a big horror person, I was riveted through the whole thing. Like, I really was. Like,
It's Mando Myers.
Mando Myers. I said this in the thing that people have not heard yet, but I still struggle with them calling him Mando. I really wish they would give him like a name.
I am right there with you, man. First off, every time they say Mando, I immediately think of Lando. And then I'm like, fuck. It's so weird.
I talked about this on the clip, but I struggled to explain it, and I've been thinking about it since. Because I said to you that it just sits wrong with me when we talked about it before, and I think I figured out why. It's see, you take it to Lando, which is a much more positive place. I take it to a place where, like, I dealt with kids that have Down syndrome, and so like
I know you're going.
Yeah.
Mongo?
What's that?
Go.
I mean, like that, and there's several words that are very similar in sound. That's one of them, and I don't think that's what they're going for, and I'm not giving Disney shit or Lucasfilm or anybody, but I'm just saying that's the feeling it triggers for me. Do you know? And I'm just not as much of a fan of it. But
I will just say this: for all we know, maybe he is down. Maybe he does have Down syndrome.
No, this character, whatever his name is quickly becoming one of my favorite Star Wars characters, period. Like, I'm a big fan of this character.
Really?
Yeah. I like his attitude. I think, I mean, not to sound weird, but I like Pedro Pascal's voice. I think it fits the character really well.
Absolutely.
There's just enough, because it's safe to assume he's a humanoid character. Like, for all the strange creatures that are in Star Wars, I think it's safe to assume that this character is humanoid underneath the armor. And there's just enough human in this character for him to be a cold-blooded fucking bounty hunter that it makes you like him. You know, and nothing more than the way he interacts with the Baby Yoda, but not even that. But like when he's in that village, in I think it's episode 3 or 4, you know, and he helps that village. Like, there's multiple points where you see this guy show his humanity, for lack of a better word, that makes him very likable.
Agreed. I think one of the criticisms that I've been hearing is that they don't know what the fuck it's supposed to be. They don't know what the show is supposed to be about. We don't know shit about the character. All we know is that I'm liking this show to, it has a chronology. It has a bigger picture of a story, but it focuses each individual episode as it has a beginning, middle, and end. There's no cliffhangers at the end of each episode. It begins, middles, ends. And whatever that subject is.
And yet it all links together. You're right, there's no cliffhanger, but yet it all somehow seamlessly connects to the next.
With, I think, like, one exception. Like, I think the first episode has, like, a cliffhanger of him, like, flying off with the kid. Or
I feel like that's okay, though, especially because it's a pilot or launch episode, so yeah.
But, like, there are characters that die pretty quickly, or at least the implication is they die pretty quickly, where I'm like, okay, well, it was a good character. I wish they'd come back, maybe, hopefully. Like, when you really kind of break it down, the mercenary tag team Suicide Squad that fucking hung out with Mando in this episode, that whole ship is empty. They're locked in a fucking prison cell with no pilot and no one around.
Yep.
They're going to die.
What did you think about... Well, no, there were... Yeah, well, what did you think about the one character, though? Do you know who played the bald guy?
Bill Burr?
Yeah. So I know you're a fan of his, aren't you? If I recall, you've mentioned Bill Burr a few times over the course of the
Bill
show.
Burr, but he's a funny dude. I don't think I've actually sat and watched the whole, like, special.
Oh, for some reason I felt like you were a bigger fan. That's my bad.
No. I'll do you one better, though. The guy who plays the giant red horned bird.
Yeah, that's Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking Mr. Krabs.
Yep. Well, I fucking hate SpongeBob, so it's not the first thing I think about when I think of Clancy Brown, but sure.
But Clancy Brown's other iconic character that he played
Yeah, I guess.
Highlander, the Korg, the Kurg. So they went from Berg to Kurg. The Kurg
Well,
to Berg.
I didn't watch Highlander either, so.
Oh, fuck off then.
CJ here with a few thank yous and to let you know how you can get in touch with and follow the show and us. Listen to us on the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anywhere else you find your podcasts. Please don't forget to rate and comment. PodAskew is a member of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Visit their website, bigheadsmedia.com, and follow them on Twitter at bigheadsmedia. If you want to agree with or yell at us, follow Rico, me, and the show on Twitter. The show is at PodAskew, Rico is at RantsRico, and I'm at M_Blade. We want to thank logo designer and show friend Mike for his work on our wonderful logo. You can contact him for artwork via email at logomike80@gmail.com. That's logomike80@gmail.com. Thank you to Samuel Lemons for our closing music theme, Askew. You can find Sam on Twitter at Samuel Lemons and his music on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/Samuel-Lemons. Finally, our biggest thank you is to you, everyone, for listening. Rico and I really appreciate your time and look forward to bringing you another episode soon.
You expect me to search the galaxy for the home of this creature and deliver it to a race of enemy sorcerers?
This is the way.